The story begins with a 34-year-old hopeless, helpless man who meets an abrupt end after crashing by a speeding truck. He is taken hospital for the treatment, but the pulse rates drops and he dies. But instead of fading into nothingness, he wakes up and reborn in another world as a baby named Rudy. He is born to Paul, a swordsman, and Zenith, a gentle healer. He finally realizes that he has been reincarnated as a baby with the complete memory from his last birth. As he gets back to his new home, he learned their language in 6 months and constantly keeps his mom engaged by running around the house, and Rudy's perverted mind doesn't leave behind, as he still holds the memory of a 34-year-old man. He looks around his maid, who's very attractive. Just then his mom catch him. Lely, their maid, complains to her owner that this baby, who seems a little weird, and apologizes for speaking extra. But Zenith brushes it off, saying he is just a baby. As Rudy grows, he looks outside and wonders. The view from this place is so good and thinks this should be somewhere in Europe. Just then he sees outside his father Paul. He notices he is an excellent swordsman. Surprised, he falls down, but seeing him, his mother comes running towards him, picking him up, and because she is a healer, she casts some spell on his head so that he doesn't get hurt again. At first, he just thinks this place and people here are weird, but when the spell starts occurring, he is stunned to see that his mom's magic actually works. Just then his father gets there too, wondering what happened. So his mom explains everything, while Rudy still wonders, where is he? And he finally realizes that this isn't Earth, but a different world entirely. As Rudy turns 2, he starts walking on his own, and wonders if his mom will teach him the magic. He gets inside a room, in search of something, and opens a heavy box. He literally jumps into it and remembers his father's words that there are just limited books in the house. As an adult in a child's body, Rudy learns to read at an absurdly young age. He soon lends his hands on magic books, which becomes his favorite. He soon learns different ways of performing magic, and soon begins experimenting with magic too. That's when his true talent begins to show. He can cast spells instantly, without chanting them out first. He tries to do it again, and hangs over a window and try to focus. Remembering his father's words, he first pictures his potential, and gradually, without even casting a spell, he throws his magic out, and falls down. Stunned to see his own magic, he kept doing the spells of water bubbles for a couple of days, and exhausted using the magic, he falls down. And after that, during dinner, or while helping his father work out, or even while bathing, he just kept thinking about how should he increase his powers of casting magic. He then reads more books on magic, and thinks that starting young might end up making him a magician. He kept doing the same thing, smiling and thinking, it's too easy. The next morning, while Paul is working out, sharpening his swordsman skills, suddenly a splash of water falls on his face, and he looks at the window of his son Rudy. Rudy soon can forms water bullets from his fingers and gets super happy by doing so. He then sees further in the book to learn the intermediate magic, and soon after, during his experiments in his room, he gets excited reading the book and ends up unleashing an intermediate level water jet that blows out the wall of the house. Everyone working in field witnesses it too. Worried about his son, Paul opens the door and gets surprised that the wall of the room is gone. His mom gets worried and asks if he is okay. Just then, she looks at the magic book he has been reading. His mom asks her husband, in a little scary tone, if he has been casting the spell, but he denies. After which Rudy apologizes for reading the book, but his mom gets super happy and jumps around in excitement, thinking their boy is a super genius. She holds her husband and starts dancing, but after a second, they both end up in the argument, as they had decided, if they ever had a boy, they will train him to become a swordsman. But now Zenith wishes Rudy to be a magician. But just then their maid suggests to teach Rudy magic in morning and swords training in the evening, and they both hugs each other, thinking it's the best idea. Knowing their son is genius, they hire a tutor to channel his energy. Finally, the tutor named Roxy gets there, but they all get surprised, seeing a baby-faced mage. The pervert Rudy even thinks of marrying her. Seeing Rudy is such a little boy, Roxy initially thinks she is just going to be a babysitter for him, and she thinks, yet again, a set of idiot parents who think their boy is special. But Zenith assures her that her son is actually special. Although seeing Roxy, Rudy is quite nervous and asks his dad, is it important to do it outside? After that, Roxy starts explaining that there are 3 kinds of magic. Those are attack, healing, and summoning magic, which are further subcategorized, and Rudy gets absolutely nervous sitting on a chair. She stops for a moment and asks, what's wrong? When he says nothing, she continues and start demonstrating him. He asks, do you have to spell it? She says obviously. How else would you do it? She then cast a spell to form a water bubble and shot it like a bullet, cutting down a tree in half. She then asks Rudy how he liked it, and he says his mom loved that tree that she just cut, making her worried, and she immediately runs towards it and heals it back with her magic, leaving Rudy stunned. He appreciates her for using the healing magic just like his mom. After that, she tells Rudy to try out some magic, so he copies and executes the magic, but in the wrong way, after getting distracted, humiliating the teacher in the very first lesson. But still, she is surprised that he cut her spell in half and asks, "Do you usually do this way?" And he nervously says, "I usually don't use the spell," which surprises Roxy entirely, realizing the absurd potential of this perverted baby. Just then, Rudy's mom sees her favorite tree falling down and tells Roxy not to use her trees as her props. She gets nervous that she may be fired tomorrow, but Rudy, who haven't had any talk with a woman in 20 years, doesn't know how to console her, so he gives a weird smile and tells her that it's okay. So she gets up and flicks his head. Just then, his mom gets there and invites Roxy in for a proper introduction, though she hesitates in the beginning, but Zenith anyway takes her in. So finally, Roxy's welcoming party begins, with drinks and amazing fest, and seeing the fun and enjoyment around, Rudy realizes that it's his second chance, and promises himself that he will not waste it, and will prove that even a reckless man like him will not let the second chance slip off. The next we see is a funeral ceremony of Rudy from his previous life, where his relatives are crying after his tragic death. In a flashback, in Rudy's past life, where he kicked out of the house in the rain for being jobless degenerate, and he walks out barefooted, thinking what did he do to really deserve this treatment. Just then he sees a bunch of teenagers arguing and a speeding truck heading the same way. In order to save those kids, he dies, crashing under the truck. Back in the present, Rudy practiced the earth magic and tries to learn more and more about the intermediate magic. Months passes by with Roxy training him with non-stop magic. They also started the evening lessons, but of course, the adult in Rudy being distracted all the time. But anyway, he gets excited to listen about demons and magic, and wonders if demons truly exist. Roxy tells him that she is a demon herself. That's the reason his parents were surprised to see her at the beginning, because they were taken aback by the color of her hairs. Rudy asks why. So she explains that there is a race of demon called Supern, the green-haired race, which was the most dangerous one. The who used haunt and slaughter kids and women's. She says that growing up she heard quite a lot about the race, mostly like, "Don't stay up late or else the Supern will devour you." And Rudy thinks every world need a character like this. But Roxy tells him that Supern are easy to recognize as they have green hairs and red gem in their forehead, so she warns him never to go close them ever, or else they will kill him. Although, in the wrong lighting, people tend to think she is a Supern as well. But Rudy compliments her, saying she is very pretty, but she brushes him off, saying she gotta sleep now. As the time passes, the kid becomes the prodigy in magic, and now he doesn't even run away from lessons, and now he can even use advanced magic. But when his father tries to teach him the swordsmanship, he has the worst motor skills. His father keeps telling him to be light on his feet, but seeing the two struggling, his mom chuckles. Also, the humiliating trauma from his past life makes him freeze up whenever he tries to step past the front gate. He remembers the humiliation and bullying he had to face in school in his previous life. Just then Roxy gets there and asks if he is okay. She looks at the scenery outside and tell him that back at her village, climate is so harsh that not even the grass would grow, but she feels really good seeing the crops here. Rudy hopes Roxy stays with them forever, and she then points to the mountain range, saying there is a country beyond that mountain called Renova, which a beautiful country, and during winters the snow piles up there, even beyond her height. She then explains that there is a prestigious modern magic university there that teaches all kind of magic, and the happiest part is they accept students from all over the world without any discrimination. Roxy then sits before him and tell him that if he is interested in his further magical advancement, he should definitely go to Renova, but he wonders that he will have to leave the house. So he says she is the only master he will ever need. But Roxy says that he shouldn't be calling her master anymore, as his ability are growing so fast that soon he will surpass her. After that, Roxy get in her room and try to cast magic without spelling cast like Rudy, but naturally fails. Soon his 5th birthday arrives. His mom prepares big fest for him, and they all celebrates together. His father shows his swordsman skills by putting the entire sword in his mouth while everyone else enjoys it. After that, his father gift Rudy a sword that's pretty heavy and he thanks him. His father explains that this sword is bit heavy for now, but he should always remember that it takes a great courage to protect one's dearest people, so he should always have the courage to do that. He tell him that magic is not always reliable. but sword will always help you in combats. Just then his wife give him a friendly cuff, making everyone chuckle. After which she gives Rudy a magic book that he loves and gets super happy, and his mother hugs him out of happiness. Finally, it's Roxy's turn and she gives him a magic wand with a magic stone to Rudy as his present for his 5th birthday. She apologizes to him for not giving the wand sooner, but Rudy thanks her and says that he will take care of it always. She then appreciates him that he has learnt 4 types of magic before he turned 5, and he responds that it's all because of her he could reach an intermediate level. She pats his head lovingly and says that she doesn't have anything else to offer him, so tomorrow is his graduation exam. Meanwhile, later that night, Rudy gets depressed thinking about his previous life and how his life sucked, as he was extremely bullied. That's the reason he always feared going out of the house. He was locked inside the house because his bullies would appear outside his window, after which he locked himself in with his computer. The next morning, Roxy tells Rudy that she will be giving her last lesson outside the home, which makes Rudy really nervous. He insists if they can do it here at the house, and his mom explains that he doesn't like going out a lot. She guesses maybe he is scared of the monsters, but Roxy assures them that as long as they are away from forest, they are safe. So his father approaches him, but he still doesn't want to go. Roxy then guesses that he is scared of horses and asks, "Aren't you?" But he denies, so she picks him and put him on the horse and assures him not to worry, and finally leaves. It's Rudy's first time ever outside the house, and the moment he crosses his gate, his past trauma haunts him. But Roxy assures him and keeps moving. The outside world immediately hits him, and he looks around like it's some another world for him. And he finally realizes that people are not staring at him but greeting Roxy, and just like that, he finally overcomes his fear and relaxes, realizing that, why would people mock him in this peaceful village? They finally stops at a place and Roxy tells Rudy to be ready for his exam, and that she will cast the spell only once, so she warns him to watch carefully. Rudy wonders if they came outside because she is using any secret spell, but she denies and says, "I don't want to hurt any crops. That's why we came out." After that she gets ready for her spell. Taking a breath, she begins spelling a powerful cast. She uses her wand and moves it for summoning her magic, and then the cloud starts pouring. The rain and thunderstorm begins, washing Rudy away, but he somehow stops himself by hanging to Rosie. Her spell is so strong that they end up destroying things by extreme thunder and water, but she doesn't know what to do now, so he suggests her to use the healing magic afterwards. She tells Rudy that it's his turn now, so he steps ahead. And while he gets ready to give his final exam, Roxy locks herself and horse in a fortress for protection. So Rudy finally begins spelling the magic. He just doesn't pass, but overkill it, summoning a full-on thunderstorm and showing magnificent show, leaving absolutely no room for any doubt. And when everything gets back to normal, Roxy tells him that he has learned everything in 2 years that took her lifetime to perfect, and so she doesn't have anything left to teach, and she officially declares him a graduate, having becoming a Saint-class water mage. After that, Roxy prepares to leave, while Rudy's parents ask her to stay as they would love to have her around, but she insists that she want to travel the world for a while. She then sits before Rudy and tell him that she doesn't have anything left to teach a boy of his caliber, but Rudy sincerely thanks her, saying she gave him everything he needed. So Roxy smiles and gives him an amulet from her village as a memory of his graduation. Rudy gets a little emotional and says that he will treasure it forever. After which Roxy leaves, and Rudy runs after her, but she is gone, so he screams saying, "Thank you for everything, master," and he wonders. Roxy has not only taught him, but also brought him outside, that no one could do in 20 years, so as long as he lives, he will thank her. After that, Rudy has improved quite a lot, as he doesn't fear going out anymore, so he asks permission from his father for playing outside, and his parents gets happy that Rudy finally can go out on his own. He then get to his father, ask, "Are you worried about something?" So his father says that he was worried that his son will never leave home. After which Rudy leaves and explores the forest and gets stunned by the beauty of the nature. Later, as he is exploring the forest, he spots few boys bullying a child named Sylph. They throws stones at him. Rudy relates with the situation, as he has been bullied in his previous life. Meanwhile, just as the boy pick a stone to throw, Rudy stops him by throwing water magic at him. He warns them not to do it, but they start pelting stone at him, but naturally, he isn't scared anymore. Thanks to the magic he learnt, Rudy throws water shots at them, forcing them to leave, after which he runs towards the child and asks if he is okay. He then gets up and Rudy asks him to bend a little so that he can clean him up, and he then uses his magic to wash off the dirt from his cloths. But just then, Rudy's head clicked the panic button as he sees the boy has green hairs, and he remembers what Roxy told him about Supern race. So he checks on the boy's forehead for red gem, but thankfully it's all clean. The two quickly grow close, and while sitting together, Rudy tells Sylph that he need to fight back his bullies. But Sylph asks, "Are you sure my looks doesn't scare you?" Rudy denies, saying his master was a demon, and asks, "Are you a demon too?" And he starts crying, thinking about it. Rudy then tries to calm him down, and wonders. His home life seems a little complicated. Soon after that, they start walking back, and Sylph asks, "Why did you help me?" Rudy explains that his father always taught him to be kind, so Sylph is afraid. Other kids won't really play with Rudy anymore, but Rudy assures him that he will play with Sif as they are friends. Now after that they both introduces themselves to each other, and then keeps moving ahead. Finally they stops near a tree and Rudy asks him, "Do you want to play?" But Sylph denies, saying he never played with a friend before, but asks him to show that trick that he did before. So Rudy turns and says, "That's magic." Surprised, Sylph asks, "Can I do it too?" Rudy tell him that, yes he can, if he learns the right incantation. So Sylph take a pause for a while. Rudy turns to him saying, "Do you want to learn?" And he agrees. So Rudy assures him that he will start his training right away, making him smile. After that he see off Sylph for the day and come back home. Upon reaching, he notices his father seems upset, so he wonders, what did he do? His father tell him that he is upset because Rudy threw punch at the boys today. He remembers. It was the boys who was bullying Sylph. As he tries to explain it, his father shuts him and screams, saying, "If you did something wrong, you should apologize." Rudy again tries to explain, but his father is in no condition to listen. But still Rudy says that his father is being weird as he is not even listening at first, and just luring the dominance over a kid. That makes his father really angry, and he hits him with a slap. But Rudy gets up and says that he has always tried his best to be a good son, and has worked hard to gain his trust. But today, his own father listened to someone else before him. His father still says that he hit a poor kid, but Rudy stood straight and says that he is proud of what he did today. His father gets a little shocked and then asks, "What happened today?" So Rudy turns around and says they were bullying a poor boy and were ganging up 4 against 1. But he says that next time if he sees anything wrong, he won't help. Hearing this, his father regrets and feels bad for hitting his son. Rudy wonders that he has spent many years just by himself learning tactics to argue. So this time his father stands no chance. Feeling bad, he finally gets back inside and greets him, "Mom." Meanwhile, his father then remembers the boy, Sumo, who came today with a swollen eye and a complaining mother, after which he apologizes to the women, but now he feels so sorry for hitting his son. Just then his wife gets there and asks, "What's wrong?" He explains the situation, and soon summer arrives and kids started playing out while Rudy try practicing with sword. But the summer is extremely harsh to even practice. Just then Sylph comes there. Rudy then starts teching him magic, and as the time passes, Sylph learns casting spells and can progress for hours. Sylph then want to learn the magic Rudy did the other day with fire and water, so he demonstrate it to him, but adds that it will be a little difficult for a beginner, but Ylf insists. So Rudy thinks about how should he explain it to him. So he tell him that when he uses the magic there is a rushing feeling. You should just focus on that feeling. So Sylph begin trying it, but it's not that easy. So Rudy thinks that at least he has something unique in his life he can be proud of. But just then Sylph achieved the spell less magic. Sylph GTE's super happy after that and starts running around. And Rudy, who has had a real friend after a long time, chases after him. Soon they gets comfortable with each other and start spending says together. Soon, the rain starts pouring and they both gets to Rudy's house. Maid Lily then gives him the towel to dry up and shower. Rudy immediately gets undressed and asks Sylph to do the same, but he is little hesitant. Seeing him hesitant, Rudy himself takes the initiative and undress him for the bath. As he is about to remove his bottom, he stops him, although Rudy insists, but he tell him to stop it. Rudy cannot understand what's wrong, so he agrees that he can bath just like that, and turns around, but immediately he turns back and remove his bottoms. That's when the shocking truth comes out. Sylph is a girl. Rudy gets absolutely shocked, while Sylph starts crying. Meanwhile, hearing her cry, Rudy's dad immediately gets there. Rudy realizes that he has messed things up, after which his father gets there and talk to him about it. But this time his father doesn't lose his cool and ask him calmly why he did that. Rudy explains that he thought she might catch cold, but his father says that she already said no, right? Rudy apologizes for his mistake, so father says that he should always be respectful. He apologizes again, but his father calmly tells him to say sorry to Sylphie. He wonders if she will forgive him, but his father playfully pets his head and says, "Don't worry about it, just apologize sincerely." After which, nervously Rudy gets towards the girl and apologizes, saying her hairs are really short, so he thought she is a boy all this time. Embarrassed and hurt, Silly starts crying, avoiding him completely. The next day, Rudy and his father starts practicing with sword, but naturally Rudy cannot keep it up with his dad, so he says that you aren't giving our best efforts. So Rudy tell him that Sylphie is still upset and he doesn't know how to make it up, so he begs his father for some advice. So he gives Rudy a thoughtful advice, saying if he truly wants to make things right, he needs to be honest and should show kindness to Sylphie. So he says that next time he sees Sylphie, just tell her all your feelings, and after that, it's all up to her. But he worries if she never speak to him again. His father suggests him that he has backup plans. He doesn't have to worry. Just then he sees Sylphie standing right there. He gets nervous, but his father pushes him to speaks. The conversation is pretty awkward, and he struggles to have a talk to her. But then he looks back to his dad, who encourages him. So he take a deep breath and says, "I am afraid you don't like me anymore, Sylphie." But slowly, Sylphie clears the misunderstanding and hold his hands, saying, "I don't hate you, Rudy. I just want to get back to normal." Restoring their friendship, she friendly pats Rudy's head, and final, they both make it up. His father hugs both of them, and they shares a beautiful laughter together. After some time, Rudy's parents are super happy and are filled with joy when they learn that Zenith is pregnant again. Rudy's father Paul is very joyful that finally his family is growing. Everything feels perfect, until Lilia suddenly reveals that she is also expecting a child. Everyone turns to Paul, who immediately admits that he is the father of their maid. Baby, the happy mood of the family shatters instantly, and the situation threatens to tear the family apart. Zenith asks her maid, what does she plan to do? And she replies, after she assists her with childbirth, she will leave for her hometown. But Zenith is kind enough to let her stay till her own childbirth. Paul tries to talk, but naturally, Zenith floods with anger. Rudy agrees with Zenith's decision, as the weather in this country is harsh and traveling with a newborn baby is going to be the harsh for Lilia. Beyond this, Lilia and Zenith have been friends, and she has been even a great help to Rudy in hiding all his secrets. It's hard to let her go, seeing how bad things could get. Rudy steps in and he convinces Zenith that it's good that he would have two siblings than one in this house. He convinces her to forgive Leah and throws his father under the bus, telling his mom that Leah is a house help in this house. She couldn't have said no to father. But it was my father who was threatening her from earlier. Paul tries to intervene, but Zenith shuts him up. She then asks Lilia if this is true, but she denies, saying Rudy must be mistaken. The fact is that Rudy lies for saving Lilia, and he finally convinces his mom for letting her stay by putting all the blame on his father. That it was Paul's fault, not of Lilia. He tells her that it would be good for a new baby to have a friend of her own age, isn't it? Zenith starts crying, hearing this, and eventually agrees to Rudy, and she tells Lilia to stay, as she is the part of the family now. And as Zenith leaves, she threatened Paul that she is gonna have a talk about it later. Meanwhile, Lilia burst into tears. From that moment onwards, Lilia becomes deeply grateful for Rudy and feels guilty too for doing this to her master. As she was the one who initiated things with Paul, she realized that she deserved to be punished. But still Zenith spared her, and Rudy is the one who made that happen. Although, since Rude was a child, she found him really weird, as he was perverted baby, so she avoided him as much as she can. But now, she has most respect for him, and would want her child to be at Rude's service in time. Both women give birth. Zenith has a daughter named Norn, while Lilia give birth to Aisha. Paul tries to engage with his daughters, but still they kept crying, so the mothers picks them up. The house slowly settles into a new normal. To Rude's surprise, Lilia started talking to him, mostly about Paul. Meanwhile, Paul and Rusis' swords training sessions kept going, and while Paul can be careless, but he is an excellent swordsman, who have excellence in all form of sword style, and even Rudy uses magic in between sword training. He still cannot get an edge over his father, and Paul kicks him away. He then tells Rudy to get up and fight again, and be like his father. But Rudy immediately tells him that if he was cool he wouldn't have cheated on his mom, making him sad. But Paul tries to talk it out with Rudy, saying, "You are a guy, you understand my situation, right?" So Rudy wonders that he was same like Paul in his previous life, so really cannot judge his father. But anyway, Paul wanna talk to Rudy about something. He says that usually boys of his age goes to school, though he doesn't need it, because he can write and read too. But still Rudy wishes to join the school. But Paul tells him that a nerdy boy like him will really get bullied at school. Moreover, he tell him that girls never exercise there. Paul smiles and says his son should just chase one woman at a time. And just then, Sylph gets there, ladder. She practices her wind magic, and Rudy feels that she is good enough that she will surpass him very soon. Sylph then sit beside him and ask, what do he want to do today? But he seems lost in thoughts, so Sylph asks, is there anything bothering you? He tell her that he feels stuck in life. He has not made any progress with sword or magic, but Sylph thinks he is amazing already. So Rudy tell her that he still has a lot to learn, and maybe he should leave the village now for learning new things. Suddenly, Sylphie hugs him and starts crying, saying, please don't leave me. Seeing her cry so badly, he calms her down, saying he is gonna stay here only. Just as he was cuddling his pillow, thinking of Sylphie, his father gets there. He burst at him for not knocking the door, but he says he got a letter from Roxy, so he starts reading. She writes that she is currently working in the royal capital as a magic tutor. A boy there reminds her of Rudy, as he is a pervert as well, but she teaches him a good lesson. Time to time, she adds that she has been learning quite a lot of things there, and she urges him to keep studying further and seek admission in the university. While the idea of learning something new and leaving the house makes Rudy happy, but it also creates a problem, since Sylphie doesn't want him to leave. The next day, while they are having their breakfast, Rudy asks if he can request something, but his father denies, resulting him to gain a kick from his mother. After which Rudy tell his father that he really want to join the Renova University of Magic, but there is a problem. Sylphie doesn't want him to leave her, and her parents are not well off to send her to study. So he requests Paul to pay for both of their tuition fees, but Paul refuses, explaining that he is still too young to be sent away that far, and also the family cannot afford to pay for two people, determined to make it work anyway. Rudy asks his father that in that case, he would like to do a job and earn the money himself. So Paul agrees, saying if that's what Rudy wants, then he will see what he can do for him. Rudy thanks him, and later they start their sword practice. Just then, a cart arrives there with a woman named Gillian, a powerful beast woman, and an old family friend. Zenith greets her well, and Paul asks, is everything ready? Gillian agrees, and then it is revealed that Rudy's parents has taken a harsh decision, seeing he has attached too much to Sylphie, and that both of them staying together would limit his growth. They take a decision to separate them for a while, and without telling anything to Rudy, they entrust him with a old family friend Gillian. He try to ask his father that what's going on. So without explaining anything, Paul throws him and start fighting. Rudy uses magic with his father, and try to dodge all of his attacks by using his magic, but still he cannot win before his father's excellent swordsman skill. And just like that, Paul makes him unconscious, and the next second when he wakes up he finds himself in the cart, leaving away from the village, with the beast women, where she explains that from tomorrow they both will be working together. As Gillian is escorting Rudy away, he take a deep breath and ask her something, but before he can even say anything, Gillian throws a letter at him from his father Paul, and he starts reading it. He first of all writes that don't ask anything to that muscle woman, as she won't even answer properly. Hearing this about her, Gillian gets angry, but Rudy calms her, saying it's just a joke. Further, he writes that he found Rudy a tutoring job, so he can earn money for his future endeavor. He writes that he has to teach that muscle lady too, as she has a brain of a muscle, which again angers the women. He further writes that till he turned 12, he will be staying there, and that he is forbidden to even return back home, making Rudy worried, as he couldn't even say goodbye to Sylphie. But he wonders that it's good for both of them not to depend on each other, and Sylphie should also learn to solve problems on her own. Soon, he reaches to a city named the Citadel of Roa, and upon reaching, he spots the many beast women's and wonders beasts are common here in this world. They pour him a drink, and he takes a sip of it. Just then his employer, Phillips, gets there. Phillips is the mayor of the city Roa, after which he sits before him, and adds that he is Paul's cousin, which means Rudy is also related to him. So he asks Rudy how much did his father told him about the work. So Rudy dictates that he is told to tutor the young lady here for 5 years, after which Philip will pay for his university fees. Phillips then tell him that he will introduce him to his daughter. On their way, he tells Rudy that he heard he is an amazing mage already, and Rudy says that all the credits goes to his master Roxy, but Phillips then warns him that his daughter is very particular, and has already rejected many tutor, and he accepted him only because his father asked him to. After that, he opens the door and here she is, Aries, Philip's daughter. Her first impression is so intense that Rudy feels like getting out of there, but still he gathers himself and walks towards her. He then greets her and introduces himself, but as soon as she sees him, she screams, saying, "What would a kid teach me?" On his defense, Rudy explains that he know a lot of things better, but she chooses violence and slaps him. She calls him cheeky, although she is the one who is loud and a spoiled girl. Rudy gets angry and slap her back, but that only angers her and she give him a hard punch that pushes him away. She gets absolutely mad at him and gets over him and starts punching one after the other. Rudy, who's unable to do anything, has his last resort. He uses his magic to push her away and bolts from there, but that monstrous girl chases after him and he has to hide under the table. After some time, Rudy gets out completely exhausted. Phillips looks at him and smiles, asking, "How did it go?" Tired, Rudy says he never saw a young lady like this, but Rudy refuses to give up, and Phillips admires his determination and asks his plans. Rudy then says that they should try to put a magic show so that Ari gets some interest in learning magic, and Philip agrees. After that, he gets back to his bed and wonders if he will succeed in the plan. He holds his locket that his master gave him and wishes everything to go well. Actually, the real plan was that Rudy gets a bold idea of faking Aries' kidnapping. The idea is to scare Aries into realizing how important magic is. So he does the same, putting her in a box. All tied up. As she wakes up, she screams again. What is happening here? Rudy explains her that they both are kidnapped, but unlike her, he can use the magic to untie himself. But instead of listening to him, she shouts for her bodyguards. But the kidnapping that was supposed to be fake turns out to be a real one, as one of the servant of Phillips comes there and kicks Aries. Rudy still thinks it's just acting going on, but the fact is that this servant works for bandits, and as Aries argues with him, he kicks her again, but she refuses to get quiet and try to attack him. But now, the situation gets really serious and start kicking her till she gets silent. After that, he turns to Rudy, gives him a punch on face and leaves. Rudy then looks at Aries, and seeing her covered with blood, he finally understands that this isn't a fake kidnapping, so he then starts casting his healing magic. But in the middle of that also she starts arguing, so Rudy tell her to keep quiet while he casts spells, after which he eavesdrop at doors and listen to the real kidnappers talking about how they have to deal with both these kids. This worries Rudy on how should he get out of the situation. Meanwhile, Aray tries to get up and Rudy think about the escape plan. He uses the magic and takes out the bars of windows while Aries stands there hesitant. Rudy then closes the doors with his magic, and he tell her that she can come along if she promise not to yell at him. Ari gets angry again, but still Rudy insists her to promise. Seeing no other solution, she finally promises, and the moment goons breaks the door, they are already escaped. As they come out of the place, Rudy uses his magic to heal her injuries, but Ari, being the stubborn girls, screams again that she wanna go home now. Rudy remind her of the promise she made a second before, but she doesn't want to keep it, so Rudy decides to part ways with her. But when she hears her kidnappers around, she has no choice but to follow Rudy. And then she promises this time that she will follow everything he says. They then rides in the cart and leaves for the city. Upon reaching Taroa, Rudy tell her that they are safe now. Just then he spots the man who works for Phillips and runs towards him. But just then, the goons kidnaps Aray again. Seeing this, Rudy chases after her and uses a magic blow to ground in order to stop them. Rudy straight away asks them to return the girl, but then the man who works at the palace intervenes, saying, "We need to kidnap the girl in order to get the money." And finally Rudy realized that this man is a traitor. He even tried to tempt Rudy by saying that he will offer him a cut if he helped them kidnapping Ari. But no matter what the offer is, Rudy refuses to team up with them and tell that there are things more valuable than money. He remembers that he has spent half of his previous life in reading novel. The books has taught him to never betray any girl, so he decides to save Arai and cast a powerful fire magic that burst up in a firecracker to let the palace guard trace their location. The magic is so good that it even stuns Ari. Finally Rudy bolts towards them and blow them with a powerful magic attack, which let their grip loose on Ari, and Rudy catches her. He stood on his ground to keep fighting with the goons until he throws his sword towards them, which is inevitable to defend. So Rudy simply closes his eyes. But just then, Gillian gets there, crushing the sword and slaughtering all the kidnappers in split seconds. Rudy gets shocked seeing the attack, until Galen approaches him and asks how many more people are involved in this. He tell her about the traitor. Seeing the bloodbath Galen did, the traitor surrenders himself, and they all finally reach the palace, and Aerie drops down to her knees. Just then her father Phillips gets running to her and asks what happened. Gillian throws the traitor in front of him, and he asks Gillen to take him behind the bars. Meanwhile, Aerie gets up and says that she kept her promise and now she can speak, after which she left. And Rudy wonders. He probably failed in convincing Arai, but he realized that he almost died in the process. And it's only because of Gillian he is alive today. After that he starts leaving from there, but somehow, Aerie stops him and accepts him as her tutor, not because she was ordered to do that, but because Rudy finally gains her trust, after which, they all gets inside the palace. The next day, both Phillips and Rudy is playing chess, and Rudy asks him that he understand why Arai was kidnapped, but he couldn't understand why he was abducted. So Phillips tell him that you come from the great race of family, who have many advantages. So if people get to know about it, he will be a target. And Rudy understood. He also tell Rudy that never tell anyone about your involvement in kidnapping, and the story that spread was that Gillian killed all the kidnappers, as this was a good political move. Moments later, Philip's wife, Hilda, gets there. Rudy greets her and introduces himself as a new tutor of her daughter, but Hilda looks like the adult version of her stubborn daughter. Just then, Philip's father, Soros, dominates the rooms with his powerful presence, but as Rudy greets him, he finds him polite and gives him permission to stay in the palace. And after sitting down, Soros asks Rudy if he is the one who saved Eris, but as Rudy is told, he denies and says it was Gillian who did it. But Soros straight away tell him not to lie, so he baffles a little and says that Phillips told him to do so. So Soros calls for Phipps, and as he gets before his father, he kicks him for letting his guards down on Aries' safety. Soros then make a request to Rudy. He sits near him and Soros says that he want him to teach his granddaughter magic properly, and Rudy agrees, but Rudy says that he would prefer if Aerie speaks and approaches him first, which angers Soros, but Rudy explains him that if someone else will speak for her every time, she will never grow up to be humble. Soros understands it and calls Arai so loudly, almost bursting Rudy's eardrums. Aerie finally rushes. Upon reaching there, Soros tell her that it's high time she should ask for everything by herself. So she approaches Rudy by saying, "Teach me," but Soros asks her to be polite. So finally, she takes down a bit of her attitude and asks him if he would be her teacher. Although Rudy is shocked to see Aerie like that. But anyway, with that, Rudy officially takes on his new role. Finally, the training begins in earnest. Gillian teaches swordsmanship to both Aerie and Rudy, while Rudy handles magic, reading and writing. Aerie also teaches maths to Gillian, and she sees to show interest in it, but Aerie on the other hand is more enthusiastic about magic, and every time she uses fire magic she mess up, and then leaves. Sari wishes she was a little more interested in other lessons too, and then try to search for her, because everything he reprimand her, she just leaves, and he has to go after her. He finally catches her sleeping outside the palace. As he looks at her, he wonders. She seems like an angel while sleeping. He tries to wake her, but she is in deep sleep. No matter what he says, she doesn't wake up, but Rudy, being the pervert he is, try to take advantage of her deep sleep and touch her. Just then she wakes up and punch him. She gives him a devastating blow and throw him out of the room. So, he tries to play it cool and cries before Gillian. Although Eris showed interest in lot of things, but maths quickly became her worst nightmares, and she refuses to do it. But then Rudy, who has made a deal with Gillian, signals her to narrate a story to stop Aerie from leaving. So begins saying, in one of her wolf party there were 7 members, 2 swordsmen, a fighter, and a thief, one mage. Aerie gets really excited about it and asks, what happens next? She goes, busyness was never my strong suit, so I let others handle it. Just then Rudy cleverly adds, have you found yourself in trouble because you couldn't do maths? Gillian agrees, saying, I had many troubles because I traveled alone and I couldn't keep account of my money. She says, she traveled 10 days without food and thought she was about to die and landed up to a monster's shit, which made her sick for days. And Rudy wonders. Gillian is going really deep with her story. And finally Gillian says, that's the reason she wants learn maths. After which, Aerie silently sit down and start with her maths lesson. After studying, they both heads for sword practice with Gillian in charge. She instruct them to keep their eyes open and focus on attack. Aerie is super fast in combats and beat Rudy very easily. She hit him and kept attacking, but Rudy is no competition for her. She finally makes one more strike and take him down. Ari boosts saying, "You have a long way to go, Rudy." After that, Gillen gives him the evaluation of his sword training, saying, his moves are very sluggish, and he gotta work on that. While Ari hits him saying, "You gotta train hard, Rudy." After the training, Rudy gets in his room, exhausted, and lie down. He wonders, it's too much of work. And yet he has to give lessons tomorrow as well. But still he realized that, if he wanna go to university with Sylphie, he gotta keep moving for another 5 years. The next day, the schedule begins again, and Ari start acting up yet again in maths classes, and go after him for some beating up. So he decided to give her some break. During a walk through the city, Ari takes Rudy with her, but he is scared that she might get abducted again. But she turns around wearing a feathery dress, and he compliments her, but she rather hit him and moves ahead. They finally reaches the middle of the city, and Ari happily runs around. As the city of Roa is beautiful, even the outer walls are amazingly decorative. The market area is super crowded, and everyone seems enjoying there. Meanwhile, Rudy writes down the prices of the items there. Just then, a man tempts Rudy to sell a medicine, which of course tempt Rudy as well, and write down its price too. After some time, Rudy's eyes lands on a book, which is similar to the one he owns, and see the price of it and notes down. Just then Ari asks him if he needs something he can buy for him by asking her grandfather. Although Rudy really wanna buy a book, but since it's not Ari's money, he refuses. He then tell her that, does she have any idea how much money he gets paid for being her tutor? She denies, and he says, 2 silver coin. Ari is shocked to hear that because it's too little. So he asks her that she should only buy gifts for people when she has her own money. But seeing her so quiet, Rudy wanna make it up to her. So he tell her that when we return back he can ask Lord Phillips for some stipend, which makes Ari real happy. As they are heading back, Rudy notices a massive castle floating in the sky. He gets absolutely shocked and asks, what is it? So Gillian tells him that it belongs to Perusius, the Dragon King, one of the legendary heroes, who once helped defeat and seal away the demon god Lepless. And he remembers, it's the same story his parents told him. As they walk ahead, he appreciates Ari for having such good knowledge on history. The floating castle leaves a strong impression on Rudy, and he wishes to go there someday. After they reach back, Ari has started her studies and her mood has shifted drastically. After they started taking short breaks from studies. Meanwhile, Ari gets him a gift, which was the same medicine he saw over the store, and Gillen tell Rudy that Ari has started getting allowance too. But seeing Rudy getting so awkward by that medicine, Ari asks, what is this medicine for? But he tries to run off, but in the struggle of him trying to run off from there, the bottle of medicine breaks down. Rudy runs away, and Ari chases after him. The next day, an intense training session goes on between Gillian and Ari, where they both shows the extraordinary skills of swordsmanship. Ari answers even the hardest attack from Gillian, and after they stop, Gillian appreciates her and says, with this level she will reach the advanced ranking soon, which makes Ari really happy. Ari even tried to improve her math skills by not getting angry, and sincerely tries to learn from her mistakes. Meanwhile, both Gillian and Ari learns to create fireballs with the magic. Later that day, Rudy is seeing a statue of his master Roxy. Just then, a lady knocks his door, so she gets inside and says that she wanna talk about Ari. She says that Ari is about to celebrate her 10th birthday and her father is throwing a big celebration party. So she wishes Rudy to change his class timing, so that Ari's dance instructor can focus on turning her into a proper graceful young lady. Hearing about Ari's dance, Rudy laughs knowing she would treat dance class the same way like her maths classes. Anyway, Rudy agrees in changing his class time, so Ari can learn proper dance. After the lady leaves, Rudy gets happy that he finally have some time off after a long time. So Rudy directly go to his favorite place, which is the library, to get some books to read. Phillips help him to find some good literature. Rudy then lends his hand on a book, which is in different language. Phillips tell him that this is the Beastmen language, and if he learn it, he can hire beast people for himself someday. Rudy starts imagining beasts women, as he finds them really charming, and Phillips find them attractive too, especially their wagging tail. After which Rudy decides to learn the new language after he returned back to his room. He starts writing a letter to Roxy, saying he has been learning new languages in his free time. Meanwhile, as the days passes, Rudy learns new languages on his own. Just then he hears something outside and opens his door to look, and sees that Ari is running away. Her dance instructor explains that every time she corrects her, she runs away. Her instructor worries that, at this rate, Eris is just gonna embarrass herself in front of others on her birthday. Hearing that, Rudy asks if there is anything he can do. The instructor immediately begs him to speak to Eri on her behalf to return back to her dance class, and he agrees. Rudy knows where her spot is and finds her right there on top of the hay. He tried to approach her saying, "I heard you having trouble with dance," but she immediately kicks him away. But he still tells her to get back to the dance class. He explains her that this party is for her, but she says that why she has to do something she isn't good at, and Rudy understands her, as he has been the same in his old life. And he knows that if Eri keeps her behavior like this, she will definitely repent like he did. Eri tells him that he wouldn't understand her problem, as he is good at everything. But Rudy corrects her saying, there are lots of things he cannot do either. But he will still never give up because the worst he feels when he knows he sucks at something, the best it feels when he figures it out. So he asks her, will you get in the dance class again? She gets down and hits him, but after moving few steps, she tells him to come and help her in dancing. They both start the dance practice, but Eris' dancing skills are as bad as her math skills. She keeps moving so fast in the dance full of grace that she ends up slipping Rudy away. Meanwhile, Rudy's language skills are steadily improving thanks to the practice with Gillian. Meanwhile, Rudy gets to the shopkeeper in the market to sell the statue of Roxy, and in returns he gives him a gold coin. Meanwhile, Rudy and Eri both keeps doing their practice, and later, despite practicing his language proficiency with Gillian, Rudy still finds it hard to learn more. Just then a package from Roxy arrives. It's a letter from Roxy that even smells like her. She writes that she is really happy that he is a tutor now and also training under the Sword King Gillian. After that she get to the point and sent him the written notes for helping in his language proficiency. She has written herself for Rudy so that he can learn the Beastmen language easily. After opening the notes Roxy sent him, Rudy gets overwhelmed by the kind of efforts she has put in making these just for him. Afterwards Rudy and Eri practices again for the dance, and the instructor tells her that she will be fine tomorrow if she performs like this, which make her happy. Finally the big day arrives and a big party starts. Eris' grandfather welcomes everyone on the big day, and one by one, everyone starts greeting Eri. Meanwhile, Eris' dance instructor talks to Rudy and worries if she will be able to pull it off in her performance. Now, the much-awaited moment arrives, and Soros announces the event and allow the nobles to come and take Eri's hand for the dance. A boy moves forward and asks for hand, but as they start dancing, Eri completely fumbles in her dance with the noble. Publicly crashing down, she gets extremely embarrassed, but her grandfather asks her to get up. She becomes the public display of embarrassment, and everyone starts speaking about her. Before things gets worse, Rudy moves ahead and asks Eris' hand for another dance. He tells her to stop overthinking, take a deep breath and start the dance. So they start it. She fumbles again, so Rudy asks what's wrong. She tells him that everyone is staring at her. So Rudy realizes that although she has memorized the steps but she is going ahead of him, which is why she is fumbling. After which he comes up with an idea. He asks her to close her eyes and perform like a fighter. Footwork, timing, things she actually understands, and suddenly it works for her, using her combat instincts. Eris pulls herself together and the two manages to dance perfectly. Rudy uses her strength and pulls off the dance really well, and they manages to finish the dance without any flaw or fumble. Everyone gets surprised to see them performing an amazing set of dance, and after completion, her grandfather picks both of them up out of complete joy. Later, the instructor asks Rudy, how did he manage to that dance? So he tells her that he just used Eris' combat skills, after which her steps landed perfectly. And for a change, Eri appreciates Rudy for helping her out, and Rudy gets really famous among the girls. They ask him to dance with them, but Eri slaps him and drag him along. Later that night, Rudy gives the magic wand that he made himself to Gillian and Eri. For their completion of the elementary magic, Gillian accepts the wand gracefully, and Eri takes it too, but seeing Gillian, she accepts it gracefully as well. After that, Eri looks at Gillian, in hopes of getting a gift from Tu, as she has also been her tutor. So she passes her a ring that is filled with talisman and gives it to her, and she gets happy wearing it and says, I will treasure it always. The next morning, Rudy gets up and sees Eri next to him, but thinking of the ring with talisman she is wearing, he simply gets away. So he moves ahead and go to meet Soros inside his room. Soros looks up and notices a strange glowing red ball of light hanging ominously in the sky. But he wonders it's not bad. So Rudy pray as well, and his pervert head could only pray one thing. May women ring down the sky. Meanwhile, Ares has gone from intermediate level to advanced level in sword fighting, and Rudy is no match for her anymore. Just then, Rudy spots the red big ball in sky again, and worries that something bad seems to be on the way. 2 years fly by, and Ares decides it's time to surprise Rudy with a birthday party of her own making. She wishes to give the best 10th birthday party they can. Meanwhile, by now, Rudy figures it out, why Phillips keeps telling him to keep a low profile. Turns out, the problem isn't Rudy himself, it's his dad's name, Paul Noto's Gray Rat, which belongs to one of the 4 Gray Rat houses. When Paul bailed noble life, his brother took over as the head of the house, and apparently, there is a plan brewing to replace him as well. So having someone with Noto's blood living under the same roof can cause political chaos. That's why Phillips asked him not to come out in public. Anyway, Rudy's 10th birthday arrives, and while he is reading the book, Gillian wonders and asks him, how did he learn 3 languages in just 2 years? So he says that he loves it, but for now he is hungry and wishes for some snacks. But Gillian stops him immediately, as Rudy's birthday surprise party is on the progress, so he agrees, and then shows Gillian a statue he made for her. Although she is intrigued by the statue, but her tail is missing in it, so he intentionally tells her that he doesn't know where to place tail, and ask if he can see it in her body, and she actually show him. Meanwhile, the maid gets in to call them for lunch and find them in the most awkward position ever. Later, Rudy sees that they have hosted a big birthday party for him, and he is actually taken aback by this gesture. Although Rudy is a little bummed that his actual family cannot attend his birthday and starts crying, which makes Soros emotional too, and he tried to disclose Rudy's family background in public, saying, "We are like a family," so he is escorted from the room. Anyway, Ari tell him to get ready as she has a very special birthday gift for him. He asks, what is it, and wonders if his family is here. But Ari tell him that, due to the monstrous activity all around his village, they couldn't make it. Everyone's mood around gets very low and sad. But suddenly, Ari's mom Hilda hugs him, telling him that they are like his family only, which obviously lifts his mood. She even offers Aris to marry Rudy, but she absolutely denies, leading them into an argument, so she gets escorted from the room too. But Rudy's mood is instantly improves when Ari hands him an insane birthday gift, a top-tier magic staff. Seeing such a valuable gift missing home doesn't sting quite as much. He really thanks Ari for such an expensive gift, but Ari says that he doesn't have to worry about the expense, and the party begins. They all enjoys the party with fun, laughter, and of course, cake. After the party is over, Phillips, who is quite drunk, drops another bombshell and tell Rudy that Ari has 2 brothers, but she never met them, because when they were born, Phillips' older brother took both kids away. As in the Boras family, the head of the house raises all male heirs, and since Phillips lost the succession battle, his sons were basically confiscated, and that's the reason his wife Hilda hates Rudy, as her own sons aren't allowed here. Phillips then casually asks Rudy for help pulling off a coup to take leadership of the Boreas household, and while he is at it, he suggests that Rudy should marry Ares and become the next family head. But Rudy shuts that idea down immediately, as he just wants a quiet life away from this political power game, after which he leaves for his room. And as he gets in his room, Rudy finds Aris waiting in his room. He instantly suspects her dad put her up to something, but then, his pervert mind makes a wrong decision, and he tries to get intimate with her. But Aris shuts him down instantly, by kicking him enough to strike him down. But he then realized that what he did was actually very stupid, because everything Aris did today was just for him. She worked so hard for his special day, but instead of understanding her, he ignored all her feelings. Rudy immediately apologizes to her, and luckily because it's his special day, she spare him and tell him that they can get intimate, but only after 5 years from now, when they will be more mature. After that she leaves, and Rudy thanks his luck that it was his birthday. But then, he gets really excited that Ari promised him they can be intimate after 5 years, almost when he will be 15. But instantly, his brain remembers Sylphie, as she must be waiting for him. Meanwhile, Rudy's father seems on hunt for the monsters, as monstrous activities has increased in the villages. While he is at it, Sylphie gets to Zenith's house and greets her, and then straight away goes to Lilia and asks her if she can send this pendant to Rudy as she made it herself for his 10th birthday. Sylphie understands that they cannot visit Rudy, but sure can send gifts, and Lilia agrees as she herself has a gift for Rudy. After Rudy went to Roa, Sylphie has grown close to Aisha, Lilia's daughter. Meanwhile, Zenith tells to Lilia that because Rudy taught Sylphie some magic, she doesn't get bullied anymore. Paul returns back after killing the monsters. But then they hear a strong thunderstorm and looks at the weather outside. A massive cloud of mana forms in the sky. Even Roxy notices it too. Meanwhile, somewhere else, a giant dragon flying over notices a lone man walking below and attacks him with fireball. But the man is completely unharmed. The dragon gets before the man and sees some strange marking around his eyes. It gets frightened and runs away. The man is Orsted, the dragon god. He himself notices a massive concentration of mana and says, I need to find out what's happening. The legendary hero Perugus notices it too and sends his aide, Almanti, to investigate the source of that mana formation, and he orders, if he finds someone guilty, just kill them. Meanwhile, Rudy is training with his staff, alongside Eris and Gillian. He shows some magic with staff, and just as he begins to perform strongest magic, the mana formation appears before them. Gillian notices that it's a concentrated mana, and it's revealed that seeing Rudy practice magic, Almanti thinks he is the one responsible for mana formation, so he attacks him. But Gillian steps in like a wall of muscle and fury, blocking the assault. Almanti then says that he has come here on the order of Perugus to stop this formation, and he asks Gillian to step aside, as he wants to kill Rudy thinking he is responsible for it. But Gillian swears on her sword that she is the Sword King and these kids are under her protection. And before things can get worse, we see that glowing red ball of light again that Sora spotted, and suddenly a gigantic burst of light explodes around everyone in sight. Everyone gets worried that something huge is about to happen as they try to escape. Ares is left behind and Rudy gets down to protect her. Just a while later, everything gets hazy in a dreamlike space, where Rudy appears in the form of his former, miserable past self. There, he briefly encounters the mysterious man-god, an unsettling smiley entity. God-man tells him that he has been watching him for a while now, so he should trust him. But Rudy snaps saying, my life was miserable in previous birth and now in this one I seems dead again, so I don't have any reason to trust you. But the God-man tell him that he isn't dead. This is just his astral form. Rudy gets shocked to hear that, and he reconfirms, is this just a dream and I am alive? The God-man confirms it, and tell him that when he will wake up, he will be exactly like before. The God-man then tell him that he was caught up in a huge amount of disaster and got teleported. After that, the God-man gives Rudy a very important advice, that when he wake up, he should trust and support the man who saved him during the disaster. A while later, Rudy wakes up from the dream in his current younger body and quickly learns the reality of his situation, that he and Eris have been transported to the demon continent and are completely stranded. Soon he looks around and spots a man named Ruler, but as soon as he sees a red gem in his forehead, he realizes he is a Supern. Scared, he gets behind and holds his stomp, all for their protection. But seeing him look aside, Rudy starts talking to him in a demonic language. But despite being Supern, Ruler proves to be calm and straight away tell him that he rescued both of them, and to warm them up he lit the fire nearby. But Rudy asks him that didn't he find any beast women nearby. Ruler tell him that he only found the two of them, and ask, aren't you scared of me? Rudy says that it would be rude to get scared of you after you saved us, and Ruler finds him quite strange, as everyone gets scared of him. Anyway, Rudy then introduces himself. After that they both sit down, and knowing where they are, Rudy realizes they have come a far away from home. But Ruler, who seems quite honorable and sincere, assures Rudy that he doesn't have to fear, as he will protect both of them. After which, he gets up, walk towards Rudy, and swears on his head that he will definitely escort them back safely. Just then, Eri wakes up and seeing a Supern race male, she completely baffles and try to call out for help. She starts bursting in tears, saying, I am sorry Rudy, he pushed you so much, and Ruler tell Rudy that this is a normal reaction of anyone who spot a Supern. After a moment, Eri trembles out of fear and introduces herself. But then, she hide behind Rudy, but seeing Ruler communicate with them, she starts speaking, and says that her mother told her that a Supern would kill her if she sleeps late. But Rudy tell her that Ruler is quite a gentleman, so he can really be our friend if she asks. Hearing that, Ruler accepts to be their friend, which makes Eri really happy, and that's how a dangerous known Supern became their friend. And he realized that whoever made up the story about Supern race being the deadly was clearly a lie. The next morning, Ruler takes them through the high mountain and terrains. They keeps walking ahead, and Rudy uses his magic to drink water in between, and Ruler hunts for them too, with the dangerous look on his face. They kept walking ahead, and finally reaches a nearby village, where Ruler is talking to a boy in demonic language, and Eri cannot understand, so she asks Rudy, what are they saying? Rudy tell her that the boy doesn't want to let us in because he finds us too suspicious. But still Ruler manages to convince him. Finally the chief of the village gets there, and Rudy introduces himself in the same demonic language. The chief then asks about the pendant in Rudy's neck. He says that it was given by his master, Roxy. There, he meets Roxy's parents, and it turns out this village is Roxy's hometown, and he gets to know that Roxy belongs to a demon race known as Miggers, which is why she was able to send Rudy some notes on demon god language. Anyway, Rudy looks around and is stunned to see all the women's in the village looks exactly like Roxy. Anyway, during their stay, Rudy and Ari both are given food, which tastes terrible, but Rudy eat it anyway. After which, in a warm environment, Ari sleeps on Rudy's lap. After that, the Chief asks Ruler how would he help these kids to go back to their homes. He says, I am more than capable of helping them always. He further adds that, even if he has to kill anyone, he will, in order to help these children. The chief says that, when it comes on kids, no one can argue with him, after which, the chief open up about the tragic history of their people. But Rudy asks that, isn't it true that the Supern turned against their own people during the war? Ruler turns around saying, we did not, and adds that they were the victims in the war. So he explains further that the Supern's reputation for violence came from cursed spears given to them by the demon god Leplas, which drove them into madness, and soon, there was a complete bloodshed. If anyone crossed their paths, they were cut down. They even slaughtered their own families. The spear Ruler carries, once belonged to his own son, and the shock of killing him while under the curse is what caused Ruler to regain his senses. He says that 400 years ago Leplas claimed that he wanted to unite demons, so the Supern supported him only to be betrayed by him. Ever since, Ruler has dedicated himself in restoring the honor of his race and their name. Moved by Ruler's resolve and sense of responsibility, Rudy decides to help him achieve that goal with Ares. Before leaving the village, Rudy says goodbye to Rox's parents, who gives him a weapon for his safety, after which, they leave the village along with Ruler and begin their long journey home. Rudy trusts Ruler that he will protect them from the monsters in the wilderness, while Rudy and Ari will stand by him in cities, where the super name inspires fear. After a while, as they travel, they come across some monsters, but guess what? Ari single-handedly slaughters them all, and after killing, they all enjoys the meat, except Rudy, who hates consuming it. The next morning, they reaches to a cliff, and Ruler tells them that behind those big cliffs is the Sea of Rikaris. Finally, the three of them arrives to the city of Rikarisu, and try to scan the city from behind, and spots that the city is packed with animal-like demon folk. Although Rudy thought that all the demons looks a little like humans, but Ruler corrects them saying this race of demons are different, and they are mass murdered too. And also Superns are absolutely not welcome there, and that too Ruler, who is extremely famous around by the nickname Dead End. So hearing this, Ruler intends not to go inside and moves out. But Rudy stops him, and pulls a genius move. He dyes Ruler's hair blue, and has him pretend to be a Magordia, the same tribe as Roxy, and somehow it works. The trio manages to pass the entry. Finally they enter into the city, and stroll around to explore the market. The trio then decides to join the Adventurers Guild to earn some money. They boldly enters the guild where everyone else is already into the game. Rudy gets in and using his language skill, he introduces himself and Ari, and soon after, Ruler takes the entry too. His presence shuts everyone down, but after a second, they starts laughing, seeing a Supern that too in blue hair. But anyway, the trio goes ahead and boldly register their party's name as Dead End, but other adventurers keeps laughing, thinking naming their party Dead End is a joke. But there is just one problem. They are stuck at the lowest F rank, which means they gonna gets the lowest pay. Just then the other adventurer comes there and tell Rudy that they are he lowest rank and makes fun of Ruler, saying, I hope he would find a lost kitty in the forest as their first task. But without saying much, the trio leaves. Meanwhile, Ari asks Rudy if they will not be earning anything, then what was the need to even register at the first place? But Rudy tell her that registering itself was a big achievement for today, as he introduced Ruler as Dead End, but everyone laughed instead of running away in fear. That's a growth for us. Meanwhile, they spots the beautiful city with amazing lights, which makes Eris so excited as she has never seen anything so pretty before. Later, they reach local inn to book a stay for tonight. Just then, a young demon adventurer named Kurt tries to approach Ari, which leads into a misunderstanding, and angers her. She straightway punches Kurt for touching her, and starts kicking the boy for destroying the last piece of clothing she had. Rudy has to intervene to stop this, and then he uses healing magic for Kurt's injury. Kurt then tries to tell Rudy to join his group, the Tucker Babu party, but Rudy informs him that he has 2 more members in his group and their group's name is Dead End. Kurt tell him that they are gonna regret their decision, and one by one introduces their powerful group. Later that night at their hotel room, Rudy stresses about money and their low rank, and how they are gonna survive here. A second later, the God-Man pops up again in his dream, and says that he is happy Rudy took his advice seriously by trusting Ruler after talking a lot. The God-Man throws another advice to Rudy. He asks him to take the low-rank quest to find the lost kitten, and soon, they will have very less to worry. Rudy wakes up unconvinced, but desperate to earn some money. Just then he spots Eri. Wake too. He sits next to her and asks, "What's wrong?" Actually, she is worried about Gillian and her grandfather, and wonders if they would be okay, and Rudy assures her that they must be fine. The next day, they take the quest of lost kitten and moves ahead to find it, and immediately, they find a cave nearby, which smells horrible. Ruler tell them that there are many other living creature inside. As they get inside, the place seems quite creepy, and finally they see a monster inside a cage, and then the scam is revealed. The other adventurers group has been kidnapping pets to just find them later for the reward money, but the trio of Dead End shuts that down pretty fast, as the 3 of them makes a sneak attack on this other group, and Rudy uses his magic to bind them on the cage. One of them, named Lolman, says that he has something to ask. Rudy gets towards him, and just then, he takes a swing at Rudy, pushing him away. Ruler reacts instantly and kills the guy on the spot, scaring the other 2. That's when Rudy snaps. He asks Ruler, why did he kill? So he instantly says, because he tried to harm a child. But Rudy then lays down a hard rule. He speaks it loud and clear. No killing, because at this rate he will only make the Supern reputation bad. So this whole instant execution thing has to stop. But Ruler still argues, saying, what if they are evil? So Eri intervenes, saying, don't argue with our party leader Rudy. And Rudy clearly tell him not to kill anyone. Now, if he doesn't want him to be scared of Ruler, just like everyone. Rudy then starts speaking to the other group, asking them about who do they work for. When they says they are kidnappers themselves, Rudy then takes advantage of the situation. He uses the kidnappers' higher guild rank to cut a deal, letting their group, Dead End, access better paying quests through them. And finally he asked the to join Dead End. But hearing this, Ruler asks him, what are you doing? So Rudy tell him to let him handle this, as together they can earn more money. But Ruler angrily snaps, saying, I refuse to depend on low-grade beasts like them. Eri intervenes again, punching Ruler, which doesn't even flinch him. She says, Rudy is doing this for our sake, so trust him. But when Ruler doesn't move, she breaks more punches at him, saying, if you cannot cooperate with Rudy, we can make home without you. A drop of tear falls from Ruler's eyes, and he says, I am a Supern. I will never back off from my words, so I will escort you both back home safely. And finally they all group together, and Rudy instruct them to spread the name Dead End after they finish doing their work, and let others know how well behaved Dead End is. All the other adventurer accepts the deal, and he warns them that, don't even think to double-cross us, or else they will be dead. And just like that, Dead End starts repairing their reputation, with kindness, cleverness, and a little fear. A while later, we see that, after the mana disaster devastates the FTOA region, Roxy sets out to find news of Rudy and the Grey Rat family. As she reaches the village, she immediately runs towards the list of the deads, hoping not to see Rudy's name in it. She gets relieved that Rudy's name is not in the list. Just then the 2 people gets there, and Roxy asks them about Paul Grey Rat, and then it's revealed that, aside from Paul and his young daughter Norn, everyone else is missing. So Paul leaves a message for Rudy, saying he will search for him after locating the rest of the family, clinging to the hope that his son is still alive. He also requests him to search for his mother and Lilia to the northern part as soon as possible. Meanwhile, on the demon continent, Rudy, Eri, and Ruler accepts a quest to hunt a mysterious monster in a dense forest. As they get inside the jungle, Eri notices the 2 other adventurer groups who are after the same target. One is led by an aggressive barefaced adventurer, while the other group is Tokuabu Squad. Barefaced warns everyone that he will not let them have any prize for the target, so he leaves at first. After which, the Tokuabu groups leaves behind him too. But Ruler grows uneasy, sensing that the younger group is in danger, so they should go after them. But Rudy advises him not to go too close, as they will recognize him as Supern, which will be a disaster. But Ruler cannot just see them die, so Rudy suggests to tail behind. Ruler's fear soon comes true. When the Tokuabu team is ambushed by a giant python and an almond anaconda, Ruler prepares to help, but Rudy holds him back, hoping that the Dead End can step in at the last minute to boost their reputation. But the plan backfires badly when one of the young adventurers is killed, after which Ruler and Eri both rushes to kill the monsters. Ruler takes on the giant Piter, while Airy on the almond anaconda, and kills the monsters instantly. After finishing the job, Ruler approaches the young boy, who thanks him for saving his life. But this time, Rudy's decision leads to a serious rift between Rudy and Ruler, as he is angry with Rudy for letting a child die for his own benefit. Though, the situation is eventually calmed by Kurt, who takes responsibility of his fallen comrade. He tells Ruler to stop fighting with Rudy, although Ruler tells him that kids are not to be blamed, but Kurt snaps back saying, "We aren't kids. We are adventurers, and knowing we can die, we still come to quest like this." He burst into tears saying, "It's our fault," after which Ruler leaves Rudy and console the boy. After that, Ruler and others escort Kurt and his mate out and they leaves, and as the dead-end trio gets back, they hears another monster's sound, so they run inside to follow the sound, and soon after, the true target monster, a red hood cobra, appears, having already slaughtered most of the competing party, with their bare-faced leader caught in its jaws. This time, Rudy acts without hesitation. He uses his magic to strike at it. At the same time, Ruler attacks it as well, leaving a heavy dent on its scales. But the enemy isn't too weak. So when Airy attack it flying, Cobra doesn't even flinch and throw her back. As it's about to attack Rudy, Ruler stops it with just his hands and command Airy to attack. She strikes and chops the Cobra in half, and then the final strike comes from Rudy's magic, which kills the red hood Cobra then and there. Airy recheck on it, and after confirming, she overjoys for their victory over a monster, although the bare-faced guy sadly succumbs to his injuries. Afterwards, they get back to Rikarisu, but there, Rudy faces a new problem, when a horse-faced adventurer approaches him, having uncovered his earlier scheme with Loman Group, so he attempts to blackmail Rudy, threatening to expose the dead-end party for taking quest above their rank, and have their adventurer license revoked, unless he receives a share of their earnings, and Rudy just cannot understands what to do, as every plan he has since he got here has backfired. Cornered, Rudy thinks of fleeing the city with Eris, realizing that he has to take her home safely, no matter what. But before things spiral further, Ruler reveals himself as a Supern, by thawing away his dyed hairs. And even before he could do anything, the blackmailer along with other people starts running. Seeing the real dead-end Supern, Ruler then threatens the blackmailer into silence. He tells him straight that they are leaving the city, and if they hear that their license has been revoked, he will be dead. After that, Ruler escaped the city, while Rudy gets to the Kurt group and asks, "Why are you scared of Ruler? When he just saved your life?" Kurt apologizes to him, after which, Rudy along with Airy leaves the city too. Later, they both start looking for Ruler, and found him in a while. Finally, Rudy and Ruler both talk it out, and Rudy apologizes to him for being a selfish idiot, but Ruler tell him that he completely understands him, as there is no shame in protecting someone that matter. The most, Ruler appreciates him calling him a fine warrior, and apologizes for treating him like a child. He tell Rudy straight that, "I will be at your side always, and you owe me nothing in return." That's what Supern does. Rudy thanks him for his words, but assures that he will restore the Supern's reputation for sure. Finally, they both smiles and reconcile, clearing the tension between them. The next morning, Ruler appears with his head shaved, symbolizing a fresh start, and Airy appreciates his look. Meanwhile, Rudy gives him a headband to conceal the red gem on his forehead, and the party adopts the matching accessories, signalizing their unity. Rudy then begins planning their journey towards the Ashura Kingdom, as the dead end continues to travel towards the coastal city at edge of the Demon Continent. Rudy remains unaware that Roxy has also arrived on the continent, accompanied by two of Paul's former companions, bringing their paths ever closer to crossing. Soon, Rudy and his group reaches the port city, and Airy gets excited to see the ocean and runs towards it. She splashes some water and tastes a little, realizing it's salty. Rudy tells her that we cannot take a dip because we don't have the bathing suits, but she doesn't really care, and start taking off her belt. Just then, Ruler says that there is a problem here. This sea is teeming with monsters. Meanwhile, Roxas group arrives safely at the port city, and soon get off the ship, at the same place where Rudy is. On the other hand, Rudy and his group reaches to the ship, where the man seems to recognize them as Dead End Group. Rudy gets excited hearing that they have some nicknames too, but there is a big problem. It turns out, traveling by ship is expensive, and there is no way they can afford it. Later, while eating, they discuss about their funds, and realize that even if they take the top-rank adventurer jobs, they still will not be able to make such funds to travel by ship. Airy asks Rudy, what are they gonna do? And he has no idea and says that he needs some time to think about it, and he assures them that things will be fine. Let's scout our options for a couple of days. Both Ruler and Ari agrees. Later that night, Rudy is once again visited by the man god in his sleep. And as usual, the advice is oddly specific and very frustrating. Rudy is told to buy some food from the street vendor and take a walk through the back alleys. When Rudy asks for the reason, Godman tells him that he cannot explain everything to him, and then he leaves, waking Rudy up. Meanwhile, Ari continues her sword training with Ruler to keep her skills intact, and with intense training, Ruler suggests her to stay focused on her opponent, and by making one strike with her kick, Ari wins the session with Ruler, making her extremely happy. Meanwhile, Rudy follows the instructions of Man God the next day, and while wandering through the alley, he come across a starving paddler, who was asking food from everyone passing by. And Rudy spots this from a distance. The paddler even pass out of the hunger, so Rudy decides to share his food with her. The woman then reveals her true identity. She blow off her covers and taking a jump, she thanks Rudy. She then asks his name, and the reveals that she is Kishi, a demon emperor. Rudy thinks she is just a kid, playing a role of demon emperor alone, so he plays around with her and bows down before her. She gets really happy seeing that, and says that that's the reaction she wishes for her every time. She actually holds a great ability, the power to see a few seconds in the future, so she gushes and holds his cheeks, behaving like a freak. And Rudy wonders, why is she behaving like this? Being happy with his generosity. She tell him to ask any wish. Rudy casually says, grant me to rule half of the world. Her eyes roll hearing this, and she says that's too much to ask. Pervert Rudy then demands some intimacy, but she says that she is already engaged, so absolutely no for that. So finally she offers him a demon eye. Rudy asks, how much worth are they? She freaks out hearing that, and says that it's priceless. After that, she hold Rudy by force and implants new eyes in him, and when she finally get off him, Rudy screams thinking he lost his eye, but when he finally gets up, he can see everything crystal clear. After that, Kishi thanks him once again for the food and takes off from there, leaving Rudy all shocked. Rudy then walks away from there and try to test the foresight he just got. Just then he bumps into a man who tell him watch out, but Rudy uses his foresight and saves the man from getting injured, proving how useful this ability is. He then walks away, thinking their money problem remains as it is. Finally, Rudy reaches back to his group and tell them everything. Ruler is taken aback, hearing about the demon emperor Kishi, and says that she can really possess people if she wishes. Ari is super pumped up hearing about Kishi and wanna look for her in town, although Rudy tell her that there is no guarantee she is still in town, but Ari anyway wanna look for her. It took Rudy around a week to get used to his eyes, and while sword practicing with Ari, he uses his foresight to get an edge against her, and the moment she strikes him, he judges her next move and dodges the attack. He constantly presumes all her attacks in advance, and finally pins her down. As Rudy gets happy that he beat her for the first time, she shakes hands with him, but then snatch him to choke him down, and Ruler appreciates him too, saying, you fought really well, and that he has control over his demon eyes just in a week is commendable. Rudy gets excited hearing this. Later that night, Ari gets really upset because she thinks Rudy is really good at almost everything, and she is tired catching up with him now. He apologizes to her, but she says that he doesn't have to apologizes. Later, while sleeping, Rudy wonders that Ari is right, because he didn't really work hard to get these eyes, so how can he feel happy beating Ari with the ability he never owned? That's basically cheating. He then thinks that he wasted a week just leveling up, where he was supposed to get some money. Determined to get some money, Rudy decides to sell his staff. As he gets out at night, Ruler catches him, and he immediately knows he is gonna sell the staff, but Ruler refuses, unwilling to let him sacrifice something so important to him. Ruler asks him that, why is he taking all the burden on himself? So Rudy says that, we have been at this place for more than a week now, and we cannot live here forever, so we have no other options other than either selling the magic staff or working with the smugglers for the travel cost, and selling the staff is the only legitimate options he sees here. But Ruler still stops him, saying, I will never sell my weapon and you should never sell yours too, it's our pride. He reminds her that, what would Ari think after he sell the staff she gave him with such love? So finally, Rudy agrees for not selling his staff. Just then, the man Rudy saved earlier arrives. His name is Gallus. He says that he came here to thank Rudy for saving him. Meanwhile, Roxy and her group reaches to the guild in search of Rudy and the rest of his scattered family. As one of Roxy's group member approaches the men in the guild to ask them about some information, a group from the guild approaches Roxy to team up with her, as they are looking for a mage, but she refuses, saying she is already with her own party and above all, she is a rank mage. The group gets shocked to see how tiny Roxy is, but she replies that despite her size, she is a king-class water mage, and they immediately recognizes Roxy, and the guild members laughs at her for being so tiny. As we know, Roxy has teamed up with two of Paul's former party members, Toland and Elena, so Roxy asked them about Paul and his life before. Elena replies that he was just garbage, but Roxy wonders that even after speaking trash about Paul, she is still here helping to find him, but still wonders what Paul might have done to get such trash talking. Meanwhile, Roxy have also heard about Dead End, and she insists that Dead End is a dangerous supern, but Elena says, isn't it the name of a party? And Toland says that he has also heard of the team named Dead End, who also have a little mage with them. Roxy says that it's unusual for a Dead End group to have any mage with them. After that, she get back to her main question, and ask if they got any lead about Fetoa's survivors. When they deny, she hopes that the Grey Rat family must be okay. Toland says that Zenith can handle things on her own, but they aren't sure about others, so they decides to find some intel about them in the morning. The next morning, as Roxy is walking near shore, she spots Airy and Ruler training, ironically. But after she sees both of them training, she thinks that they both are so strong, and wonders if Ruler is a supern. She identifies his weapon, which is of a supern, and gets absolutely terrified and bolts back to the room she is staying. The moment she reach in, she spots Elena having some intimate time. Roxy gets so shocked and awkward that she throw them out of the room. The next day, Roxy and her group are traveling, and she tell them that they need to cut their spending for a while, as they are running out of money. On the other hand, Gallus agrees to smuggle Ruler to the Mills continent, on the condition that the Dead End has to help him liberate some stolen goods. So their sea journey begins, and Rudy thought that it will be a happy life, where Airy will be super excited, seeing octopus, squids, pirates, and even the ghost ships, and eventually they will live in a beautiful island where they both will live happily ever after. But unfortunately the reality is something else, as Airy spends most of the trip seasick and out of commission. Airy, who is absolutely sick, thinks she is gonna die, but Rudy says, I will make fun of you if you die of seasickness. They finally arrives, and Airy, who's still sick, never want to travel on a boat again. But Rudy tell her that they will have to get back too, on the same boat. He then gets out of the room to retrieve Ruler from the smugglers holding area, and as he reaches the place, he gets in, and the smuggler shows him a way to basement. As he get inside the hideout, he notices a lot of people there and wonders they must be criminals. He find the place utterly odd, as he spots a beast dog and a child getting beaten up, but Rudy keeps walking. But he soon realizes that there is a problem. As Rudy reaches Ruler's cell, he tell him to listen closely. He informs Rudy that there are many captives here, including 5 childrens, out of which one was beaten to death for crying too loudly, and he tell Rudy that they need to save those childrens. Rudy asks, what are we gonna do about the guards? And Ruler says that we will kill them all. Just then the guard tell Rudy to be quick, take your person and leave. Anyway, Ruler tell him that he will not leave until they save the children, and Rudy knows that Ruler will not kill as he has a supern reputation to protect, so he has to do that. But Ruler assures him that he doesn't have to make his hand dirty, because he will handle it. Rudy tell him that he is with him in this, although he is uncomfortable in killing people. Soon, Ruler untie himself, and with his terrifying face he gets out of cell. As soon as he get out, he kills the first guard without a second thought. Soon, Rudy reaches towards the cell of the captive children, and tell them that he is here to help them, although the beast children are already very angry. But after Rudy put his magic staff down, they starts entrusting him. He then heals their injuries and the beast children start sniffing him. Soon they hear a voice and the children gets terrified. But it's just Ruler, and he tell them to relax. Ruler tell them that he finished all the guards, and then he enters to the children's cell. He get to the child who's lying dead, and apologizes for not being able to save him. Realizing these children's are beast, Rudi's language skills plays a role here, and he starts speaking to them in beast men language, assuring them that They will take them to a safe place, and they smile. After that, they all get out of the place. Just then a kid asked Rudy that, was there anyone else in the building? Ruler tell them that there was a dog. So Rudy tell them that he will rescue the dog, and he ask Ruler to take the children safely. Rudy then get inside again and run towards the dog cell. As he tried to approach the dog, he is hit by some magic casted on the dog. Rudy frees the dog using his magic, and finally the spell breaks and the dog gets free. Soon, the dog starts licking him, and Rudy finds his fur so soft that he starts cuddling him. But unfortunately, one of the beast man gets there and mistakes him for the smuggler and knock him out. Immediately, they holds Rudy upside down, and they both discuss that they should be dragging Rudy along with the sacred beast dog back to their village. And Rudy once again is in the serious trouble, as the beats folk are actually taking him with them for a serious punishment. The next day, Rudy's morning begins in the lap of nature, in Doldia village, where he is having a place to live, that too with a furnished bed, that comes with its own bathroom. Above all, he gets his food for free with the meat he doesn't know the source of, but is delicious. Most of all, the security the place has is unbelievable, as he himself cannot bud and break free it, and it's all because Rudy is in a real prison, that too absolutely naked. Although he can open that lock using his magic, but he is in the middle of a forest, and getting lost there would mean death. Just then, a woman gets there. Rudy immediately tries to explain things to her, but instead of listening, she splashes water on him and leaves. Rudy looks around the place, filled with beauty, bridges and flowers, and the beastman, who supplies their hunt in a boat. Rudy tells himself that he should avoid doing anything rash in this place. He start wondering, why is Ruler not coming to save him, and wonders if Ruler went off safely with the kids, or maybe something happened to Eri. But then he assures himself that they must be fine, and he should have more patience. So he keeps waiting and waiting. Another day passes, and Rudy feels worse with each day. Just when another prisoner named Geese is thrown in the same prison as Rudy, and Rudy welcomes him lying down in his bed. And obviously, that man is shocked to see him. The guy says hello to him, but Rudy snaps at him saying, I have been at this cell much before than you, so you should show me some respect. He agrees, and then lie down. Rudy then asks him, what are doing here? And he says that, I was found gambling by these people. And then he asks Rudy on, why is he here? Rudy says that, he was just recusing a dog, and the next thing, he was in this prison. Anyway, after some chit-chat, Rudy asks Geese if he has seen some red-haired girl or a tall bald man outside. But he denies, so Rudy gets frustrated saying, I have been charged with false accusation and my teammates are nowhere to be seen. Later that night, Rudy actually gets a company of Geese, and he even massaged Rudy to keep him entrained for a while. Rudy then asks him, can you tell me the way back to Port City? But this frustrates the guy, and he tell him that, if he is innocent, why doesn't he just say it to the guards? Rudy snaps back saying, I have tried that already, but they don't listen, and with no help coming, Rudy decodes to break the jail. But just as he thinks this, they smell the smoke coming from the forest, and with his foresight, he sees the entire forest on fire. They looks out of the window, and the forest is burning completely. Just then a flame hit their bed, burning it too, and without wasting even a second further, Rudy uses magic to convert a stone into the key and break free before the prison gets down in fire. They both jumps out and runs away, and soon the smugglers breaks through and murders the beast people, and these are the smugglers who set the forest on fire. Rudy now understands that these are the people who attack beast kids and smuggles them for their own profit. The smuggles creates devastation in the place and kills people, leading the kids all crying and screaming. Geese asks Rudy if he is gonna flee because this is the best distraction he can get for running away. But Rudy decides to save the people instead of running away, and Geese agrees with him and charges at the smuggler from the front line. Meanwhile, Rudy focuses on putting out the fire by summoning the rain using his magic staff. Geese is amazed by Rudy's skill. Just then the smuggler orders to kill the mage, but Geese is there to protect Rudy, and just as the smuggles runs towards him for fight, the beast man who caught Rudy earlier gets there and slaughters all of them one by one. The man now knows that Rudy is innocent and asks his help to rescue the beast children, and of course Rudy agrees to assist him. Soon they reaches the place where the smugglers are taking the kids away. That's when it is revealed that it's actually Gallus behind this entire thing. Gallus asks Rudy, why is he doing it? Especially after his group has done a brilliant job with him earlier. Rudy finally realized that this was Gallus' plan all along, and Gallus agrees saying he wanted Rudy to free up the kids from that cell earlier, so that he can draw the warriors' attention from this place, and he could take the rest of the kids from this village. But Rudy tell him that he will not let him do that. Hearing this, Gallus, who was keeping a beast kid at a knife point, stabbing her. But just then, the sacred beast man gets in between, taking the attack on himself. After that, Gallus challenges Rudy, asking if he still dare to fight or he is a cold feet already. And as Gallus comes near Rudy, he wonders what should he do, and thinks of letting the man go, as he know he isn't as strong to protect anyone. Just as Gallus walks past him, Rudy hears the scream of the child, but he stands there helplessly. In that exact moment, the sacred beast dog jumps on the top of Rudy and bites Gallus, and with the help of the dog, Rudy fights back Gallus. The dog, Rudy, and Geese stands together for the face-off with Gallus. As the dog starts running towards Gallus, Rudy starts throwing water bullets at him too, but he dodges them all. He then runs to attack Rudy, but with the help of his foresight, Rudy dodges all the strikes. But the next move of Gallus proves to be dangerous for Rudy, as he takes a nasty dagger on his leg, pushing him to the ground. But Sacred Dog intervenes, saving Rudy from death. But finally, Rudy uses the most dangerous magic he has. That is the fire magic, blasting Gallus off. The blast is so huge that it's physically visible even from a distance. After Gallus is dead, suddenly Rudy passes out as well, and when he wakes up, the dog is licking him, and he hears a familiar sound. It's Eri, and Ruler by his side. Eri gets excited to see him again, while the sacred beast man and his subordinates apologizes to Rudy for misunderstanding him as the smuggler. Even the chief of the Beats Man tribe apologizes to him too. After all the misunderstandings are clear, Rudy asks Eri, why did that take so much time reaching him? So she excitedly tells him everything. She says that they were in a similar misunderstanding, where Ruler was attacked, and during that, Eri actually took care of all the beast kids that Ruler rescued earlier. And later the misunderstanding with Ruler was cleared too. And Rudy tells Eri, it was a pretty bad week for us, but we have quite a story now. And Eri gets excited and cannot wait to share it with her grandfather. Meanwhile, things are pretty bad back at Asura Kingdom. Soros, Eri's grandfather, is being executed from his role for being absolutely negligent about the mana disaster, and he is sentenced to death for being incompetent ruler, and is beheaded immediately. The next day, Eri along with the Beastman girls enjoys some bathing time. They play around and teases each other, while Rudy is peeking at them secretly. Just then, the sacred Beastman gets there and asks Rudy, why is he hiding here? And he immediately understands Rudy's pervertedness. He says that, although he is very thankful for Rudy's help for saving their village, but if he ever thinks anything bad about his daughter, he will kill him. Rudy immediately gets it, and apologizes right there. Soon, Rudy and Eri start spending quite a lot of time with beast kids. They even teaches them foreign language, and Eri successfully teaches them the foreign language, making her teacher Rudy proud. The beast man also thanks Eri for being friends with his daughter. Just then he notices the ring in Eri's finger, and realizes it's a ring that belongs to a beast man, so he asks her, where did she get it? So, Eri answers that Gillian gave it to her as a present. Just by hearing the word Gillian, they all get silent. Meanwhile, Rudy starts telling them about Gillian, but their silence gets awkward. Soon he speaks. He angrily says, Gillian is a disgrace to this village, as she actually abandoned it, leaving her duties behind and left. He repeats that she was ashamed to Doldia village, and then picks his daughters and then leave from the room. An awkward silence is spread all over the room, but Eri, who loved Gillian, runs after the beast man and confronts him, saying, how dare you speak like this about my master? She gets absolutely mad and says Gillian is the greatest of all. Eri starts crying, but the beast man kept saying that Gillian cannot be admired. Just then Rudy gets towards crying Eri. He tries to comfort her. Eri immediately hugs him and says, do you also hate Gillian now? Rudy calms her down, saying, it's nothing like that, I love Gillian as much as you do. Later, Eri looks at her ring and hopes that Gillian is okay. Just then the beast kids get in there, and they inform Eri that Gillian is the younger sister of their dad, the beast man. Eri explains them that Gillian was her sword instructor, and has always protected her in every situation. But the beast girl says that their dad always told them not be like Gillian, who always broke all the rules. So even if we don't like some rules, we have to follow that. Eri gently holds her face and says that we are a lot alike, as I don't like studying and so do you. Eri says that she loves sword fighting and is grateful that Gillian was her master. Just then, the girl gets up and says, Eri, teach me the sword fight just like Gillian taught you. The other girl warns her that her dad will angry, but she anyway wanna learn it. And finally Eri agrees and starts the training. They starts it, and Eri strictly tell her not to swing the sword wildly. The beast man sees it from a distance and is overwhelmed as his daughter never agreed for sword training. Yet Eri convinced her in no time. He asked Rudy if Gillian was really Eri's sword master. Rudy confirms it and says that Gillian is a sword king, and he also taught her basic magic for few years. The Beast Man finds it really amusing, as he never thought Gillian could be a mage. Rudy tell him that, not only magic, but Gillian also learnt basic maths, which of course shocks him, as he never thought she could change. Both the girls are training together and enjoys their time. 3 months have passed, with Eri and Rudy staying in Doldia village. Eri have really good bond with the Beast girls now, and as the rainy season is about to end, Aries gets excited to move ahead from the place. Meanwhile, the Beast girl Tona is sad and wishes Eri to stay with her forever. But Eri makes her explains that her whole family is waiting for her, and as the rainy season stops, they will move ahead, which leaves Tona crying. Meanwhile, Rudy is making statue of Supern Leader Ruler. Just then one Beast girl comes running, telling him that Eri and Tona are fighting. Both Rudy and Beast Man put the girls apart, and the other girl explains that it's all Tona's fault, as she started fighting because Eri told her that she will have to leave now. After that, Tona, who is still upset, is lying down in her bed, refuses to apologizes to Eri, just when her father gets in, and inform her that Rudy and his party will be leaving tomorrow. She doesn't say anything, so he further asks, "Did you like the sword training Eri has been giving you?" And she appreciates Eri for her teaching skills and bet that Gillian must be a really good sword master who taught Eri really well, and he remembers that while Gillian was in the village, she never learnt sword fighting. She was just a stubborn person who would always be angry. But one day, a wandering swordsman took her away, which relived him, but now he regretted as teaching his sister was his duty. But it's too late for him now, as his sister Gillian will never come back to village, but he doesn't want same with his daughter and Eri. Meanwhile, Rudy starts packing his bag for the travel, while Eri is as quiet as Tona. Just then, Rudy hears Tuna and the other girl coming towards his room, so he along with the dog goes out to give Eri and the girls some privacy. Soon Tona and the girl enter in secretly, but Eri sensed her and asked, "What are you doing here?" Tona immediately apologizes to her for being mad at her, and Eri immediately accepts her apologies. Soon the girls make it up, and Tona gives her the statue they made for her and Rudy. The next morning, Rudy and his group gets ready to leave, and the chief of Doldia village thanks Ruler for protecting the village, and Rudy for saving their children. Meanwhile, Eri and the girls share a very emotional goodbye and Eri promises to come back. Just then the Beat Man asks Eri for a final sword battle, and he challenges her to show what Gillian taught her. And of course, Eri happily accepts it. They both gets face to face each other, and gets ready to begin the battle. They run towards each other and strikes their sword, but that was enough to demonstrate how well Gillian taught the young Eri. The Beast Man shakes hands with her and tell her that she is always welcomed here in the village. After that, the group starts leaving, bidding their goodbyes to the Doldia village. Gies, the other prisoner with Rudy earlier, also gets in their cart and resume the journey with them. They decides to go to the Millis town, and the four of them moves ahead. Moving ahead, they sees a shrine, and Gies explains that this is the shrine of the 7 most powerful warriors in the entire world: the technique god, dragon god, fighting god, demon god, death god, sword god, and north god. And Ruler adds that when he was younger, he used to train to fight the 7 power gods. Eri gets excited and says that she wanna track these gods down and fight them, but Geese tell her that we don't even know where they stay or are they alive or not. While Rudy wonders that if Ruler cannot take them down, there is no chance anyone else stand them. A year and a half has passed since the mana disaster has swapped Rudy and Eri to the demonic continent, and after that, for the first time they reaches the Millis continent, a human territory, and that's where Gies ends his journey with Rudy and group. Eri doesn't have any problem from him leaving, but she wants him to teach her how to cook good meat. Anyway, he says goodbye to them and leaves. Before leaving, he advises them to go to Adventurer Guild, which Rudy agrees to. Later that night, they are in an inn, and Rudy calls his group for a meeting. They are excited that they finally made it to human territory, and will be home soon, but Rudy suggests to stay here for a while, as the jobs here pay really well, as they still don't know how much the next sea journey will cost. He then takes out Ruler's statue which he made himself, and suggests that, when their task is over here, they can give his statue as a souvenir for improving Super's reputation. Rudy also suggests that they should take a short break, as he wanna write a letter back to his home, telling them that he is safe. Eris meanwhile, decides to spend the day in goblin hunting. Rudy signals Ruler to follow stubborn Eri and keep her safe. With that, the meeting ends. Now, while Rudy is thinking about what should he write to his father, he notices a horse speeding through the town, which looks like another kidnapping of a child. Unable to ignore it, Rudy decides to chase him. He picks his staff and starts chasing the trail leads Rudy to an old building, where he hides behind some crates to figure out what's going on. To his surprise, the kidnappers aren't hurting the child. They are actually feeding him. Before Rudy can make sense of it, he realizes the crate he is hiding in is filled with some clothing, and as he sees it, it's actually underwear. His shock reveals him away. The kidnappers warns him to come out, so using quick thinking, Rudy gets out, wearing a underwear to his face to seal off his face. Using the quick magic, he manages to hit the kidnappers and get to the child. Moments later, the backup appears, and the lady in the group start attacking Rudy, but Rudy completely dodges all her strikes, even uses the magic to get away. Just then, the leader of the group appears, who is actually drunk. He is a skilled swordsman, who immediately feels familiar to Rudy. As they attacks further, Rudy uses his magic, and the swordsman's skills is beyond match. They too feels familiar to each other. As Rudy's mask strips off, the two of them recognizes each other. It's Paul, Rudy's father. They both are just stunned to see each other. Finally they sit together, unable to speak much, and the first thing Paul says is that he is amazed that Rudy is still alive after that disaster. Rudy excitedly tells Paul about his journey, starting from the mana disaster, trying to make it sound impressive. Meeting Ruler, traveling across continents, surviving a prison in Doldia village, and how it was an exciting journey for him. But Paul doesn't react the way Rudy expected. Paul is furious, because not even for once, Rudy cared to find out if any of his family member was teleported to Demon Kingdom or not. Rudy answers that his hands were full, that's why he didn't get any time. But Paul argues that he was having an adventurous trip with a rich girl but never had time to even once care for the disaster victims. But Rudy snaps, saying he had to keep Eri safe, so stop blaming me for missing on few things. Paul still lectures him over staying close to Eris, just to make his love interest. But Rudy snaps back to his father, saying, you should never lecture me over women at least. Rudy keeps talking trash about Paul's love interest and his unfaithfulness, which was enough to piss him, so he straight away punches Rudy, knocking him down. But Rudy gets up, being absolutely mad for his father behavior, and starts hitting him. He uses his foresight and hit his father with magic. Rudy gets top of him and rains down the punches on Paul's face, saying, you threw me with a bunch of strangers, and I had no one to talk to, but somehow I managed to survive, and you are here still blaming me. But as he hits Paul again and again, a young girl steps between them. Pushing Rudy away, she yells at him, saying, stop bullying my father. Rudy recognizes her. She is Norn, Rudy's little sister, but she doesn't recognizes him, and as Rudy walks away, Paul explains that the entire village was displaced, and that he has been searching everyone ever since. And as Paul says that the first things Rudy thinks is Sylphie, which frustrate Paul more. He adds, you care more about Sylphie than your own mother. That's when Rudy get to know that his mom is missing. Paul then says, Lilia, Zenith and even Aisha is missing. He says that, since most people have been displaced, they have been enslaved and taken advantage of. That's why he abduct people and take care of them. Rudy then remembers the boy who was kidnapped. He was the same boy who used to bully Sylphie. Paul thought Rudy might have started looking for his mother, but no, he didn't. This hostile stare from people around triggers memories of Rudy's past life, and he go back to his inn. And back at the Dead End Inn, Rudy is anxious and sits depressed. Just then Eri gets in, and is furious to see marks at Rudy's face. When she get to know it was Paul who did it, she gets furious, even on him for hitting him this hard. Even after meeting him in years, she intend to teach Paul a lesson. But Ruler stop her, saying, you should rather comfort Rudy than fight. She understands Ruler's words, and try to put aside her anger. But as Eri doesn't know anything about comfort, she ends up making faces. But eventually, she hugs him, saying, I am here for you, Rudy. In the flashback, Paul remembers how after the mana disaster, when he opened his eyes, he was in some other continent, with his daughter. For a minute, Paul scanned the area, but just couldn't understand. Where the hell are they? And then recalls, it was the storm that teleported them here, and his wife, Lilia, and Aisha are missing now. Paul walks from there and get in search of his wife and others. Through the devastating weather and different terrains, he reached back home, only to realize everything is destroyed because of that disaster. Time passed, and with no progress in search, Paul became frustrated and immensely alcoholic. At present, it is revealed that Geese isn't a random adventurer, but he is actually Paul's friend, and a part of their search team. Geese gets to know the full story about Paul's running in with Rudy, and of course, Paul is absolutely mad about it, although Geese asks him a reasonable question. Aren't you being too harsh on a 11-year-old boy? Paul refuses to budge, and says that Rudy has always been a genius, so he should know and act better. Geese then hits him with the reality and asks him if he has ever been to the Demon Continent. As Paul hasn't, so Geese describes it for him. He tell Paul that Demon Continent is no vacation spot. There is no water or food there. Even for fire, one has to hunt the monster down and use it to lit the fire. Paul still doesn't believes him, so Geese count it for him. 1. Rudy was alone in a demonic island. 2. His party includes a Supern warrior who can betray him at any moment. And final, he has sworn to protect a rich girl, and Paul asks, if it was so much struggle, why did Rudy made it sound like a vacation? And Geese explains it was simply because he didn't want his father to worry, which shuts Paul for a moment. And he realizes, I am actually a weak father, who is drowning to his own pathetic failure. And Geese agrees with him saying, he is being pathetic at the moment, and he makes him understand that, rather than being happy to see his son after such a long time, he was rather stuck on what sort of adventure he had. Finally Geese gets up, putting some brain cells into Paul, and tell him that, you son is finally here, fit, and fine. That's worth celebrating, unless you wanted him missing too. That night, fueled by guilt and horrible images of what his son might have endured over these years, Paul finally pulls up his strength. He wonders Geese was right, and decides to look for Rudy. When he walks into the restaurant where the dead-end party is eating, Ari immediately gets up and snaps at him, ready to fight him. But Ruler calmly grabs her, carries her outside and tell Paul that it's your right to speak to your son, but choose your words wisely. Finally the father and son sit before each other, and the conversation starts slowly, with Paul appreciating Ruler for being a real nice guy, after which, Paul apologizes to Rudy for what happened a day before. But Rudy takes the blame on himself. He actually have been messing around and treating everything like a game. Their conversation gets painfully awkward, as the silence stays in between them. But still Paul try to ask him, what's his next plan? So he says that he is gonna escort Ari back home, and Paul tell him that there is nothing left there, no people, no towns, just grasslands. But Rudy says that he will go anyway. Paul is about snap again, but stops. Rudy adds that afterwards he will look for his mother, Aisha and Lilia. Their conversation again gets awkward, until the barkeep, who was eavesdropping, decided to step in and tell Rudy to at least look his father in the eye. And when he finally looks at his father, he sees some weird expression and wonders. He knows that expression. That's when it clicks. Rudy remembers a moment from his past life, when one of the boy tries playing a game with him, and tell him that his life is fun, whereas he has to go to school every day. But he gets frustrated, as someone has dared calling his depressed life fun, and he pushes that man and fight him, because he himself is too wrapped up in self-hatred. Until the next morning, when he finally relaxed and thought he overreacted. He considered to apologies to that man, but he never came back again, and Rudy never reached him too. Rudy realizes that if he doesn't act now, he will probably lose his father, the same like he lost himself in his previous life. So Rudy makes a bold move. He suggests that they should forget yesterday ever happened. Paul gets confused, but Rudy forces him to come ahead and spread his arms. So Paul does it. He kneels down, spread his arms, and Rudy straight up jumps in his father's arm. The warm hug breaks Paul completely. He starts crying, admitting that he missed him so much and thought he would never be able to see his son again. Paul cries out loud and holds him tighter, accepting that they have finally united after 5 years of long gap. After then, they sit together, shares some memories and laughs after a long time. Just then Eris gets back, with a bruise in her eye that shows the struggle Ruler had to stop her. She immediately asks Rudy, why did he make up with his father, even after he hit you? Rudy makes her understand that it's okay, and Paul apologizes to them for the trouble. But Ruler is happy they both solved their issue. Afterwards, Rudy heals Eris' bruise with magic and calls out for another meeting with his dead-end crew. He tells them that his father has given him enough fund and a letter of introduction, so they don't have to care about their travel expense anymore. But Rudy informs Ari that Fitoba region has changed beyond recognition, and among the missing people, Soros and Philip's names is there too. Ari gets up and says that I was already prepared for that much. In that case, Rudy says that they will have to leave tomorrow, after which Rudy also has to find out his own family too. Finally, they all set up to leave, and Norn is still hiding behind her father, and Rudy greets her saying, I am looking forward to see you again, Norn. Meanwhile, Ruler get to her pats her head and says that you should always cherish your siblings. After greeting his father, Rudy and his group leaves. Finally, after meeting his son, Paul is in absolute new energy to form strategic meeting with his group and calls for a meeting for their next search. The Dead End group starts their journey again on the ship, where Ari is sick again, and basically she can barely move for a change. Rudy is seasick too, and constantly vomiting. Meanwhile, Ruler is perfectly fine, and tell Rudy not to speak much, but he still says that he is glad they have finally made it to Central Continent, and they finally can consume rice here, as he is fond of rice and Central Continent produce it in abundance. So he also thinks that the continent should be pretty maintained even after the disaster. But of course the Supern reputation is always gonna be his priority, and with an absolute storm in the ocean, they continue journey being seasick. Meanwhile, we get a little update on Roxas' journey. She is sitting in the restaurant, in the demon continent, speaking to the horse-faced demon she has known from before, who tell her that she has been very mature since the last time he saw her. Roxy says that it's been many years since they last saw each other, so that's pretty obvious, but she agrees to him, as for many years, she forced people to take her seriously, despite being young. On the other hand, Roxy teases the horse-faced of being old, which pisses him a little, but then he leaned back and tell her that he feels a little weak, since he got burnt in the other city, by a party of 3 people calling themselves Dead End. The name Dead End was enough to freak Roxy out completely in fear, but then he asked her, "Did you visit your parents yet?" Roxy gets back in senses and realizes she hasn't, but she feels that her parents will not be happy to see her. That's why she didn't even try. He snaps at her saying, "I was wrong. You haven't really changed at all," as she is still running away from her own family. He make her understands that there are fight between the closed ones, but at the end of the day, family always stands with you. Although Roxy says that she doesn't need any lecture, especially from him, but he still insists her to go and speak to her parents before it's too late. Finally, Roxy give it a deep thought and leaves to visit her village. She finally reaches in her village, which she thinks has changed a little more greenery, and more huts are there now. She spots the 2 girls, who gives her the look of an outsider and leaves. And Roxy realizes that this has always been like this. She has always been alienated from her own people. Roxy moves forward and spots some kids playing around. She then spots a stone, and remembers how she used to carve in it when she was a little girl. She then spots a boy who got injured while playing. She acts quickly, and heals the injury using her magic. But Roxy, who has a trauma from her childhood, recoils it and runs away from there. After taking some breaths, she finally sees a hut and get inside it. Roxy finally meets her parents after a long time, and her father's overjoyed seeing her. Her mom welcomes her too, and her father asks her what she has been doing all this time, or if she has been traveling alone. Roxy stays quiet. Her parents ask her to stay with them for a while. Roxy tell her parents that she is leaving right now, which worries them, as they expected her to stay a little longer, but she refuses. They even ask, when will they see her again? But Roxy says that she doesn't know. Her mom holds her hand asking her to visit them, so Roxy agrees on coming sometimes. The family breaks down, as they misses their daughter so much. Roxy is shocked, as she always had a complicated relationship with everyone in the village. But then she spots a doll she always used to have with her when she was a baby. Her mother used to teach her lovingly, but due to Rox's transmission magic, she never could be friends with anyone in the village, and was left alone, alienated from everyone. Her childhood was full of trauma and crying, as no one ever talked to her, but she knew that her parents were heartbroken because of her, and the telepathy magic she had. That's the reason Roxy ran away and never came back. She honestly thought her parents would be happier without her, but today seeing mother cry, she feels bad. And immediately Roxy bursts in tears and hugs her mother, apologizes for never understanding her. Her dads join in too. And finally the family have their moment to reunite after a long time. Roxy then decides to spend time with her parents and sleeps well. The next morning, she wakes up and enjoys a meal. They also informs her about their encounter with Rudy, which shocks Roxy. They even hope that he visit again in the future, so they tell her that Rudy was traveling with a girl named Ari and a man of Supern tribe ruler. As she hears Supern, Roxy faints right there and then out of fear. Soon after that, Roxy says goodbye to her parents. Her mom teases her to bring Rudy with her next time, and her father snaps saying, "Absolutely not. Don't even think that," which makes mom and daughter laugh. Finally Roxy realizes that Rudy, a girl, and a Supern with them, they are actually the Dead End group, who has been around her lately. Soon after, Roxy also starts her journey again with her group to the northern part, where she wishes to find Zenith, Lilia, and her daughter. Meanwhile, Rudy again gets teleported in his dreams to the man-god, who tell Rudy that it has been a long time since they last saw each other. Rudy isn't very happy seeing himself in his old miserable self, and man-god says that this is how his soul looks like. Anyway, Rudy snaps at him saying, spit the next piece of advice fast regarding his family, Zenth, Lilia and Aisha, and if possible about Sylphie and Gillian too. So man-god agrees to tell him, but he wants something from Rudy. That is, he want him to trust him on everything he says from now. But Rudy tell him that, I cannot blindly follow any advice. But the man-god tell him to be less hostile from the next time. And Rudy agrees to him. The man-god then shows him a vision of the near future using his demon eyes. He tell Rudy that he will have to rescue Aisha, who has been abducted. But with a secret name, Rudy learns that both Aisha and Lilia are alive in the palace of Chiron Kingdom. Man-god also insists him to write a letter to Roxy, but doesn't explain why. And the moment he could ask anything else, he wake up in young Rudy's body again. They finally reaches to the Chiron Kingdom's capital, where Eri notices the elephants, cattle and many other things, and gets excited. This is the same place where Roxy once worked as a tutor to a young prince. Rudy then informs his party members that some of his family members are kept captive here, so he gotta rescue them. Rudy knows that he will need help from his group, but doesn't want to explain anything about man-god. After getting in the room, he writes the letter to Roxy as he has been told to do. Rudy then walks in the town, wondering how should he look for Aisha in this big own. And before he can even put any plan into motion, he hears some footsteps chasing after him. Rudy changes the direction, but still hears it. He wonders if it's Ruler, but then he thinks it cannot be him. He wonders anyone has a grudge against him here. But how? He just came here. So he runs, and using his magic, he creates a wall to block the entry. But that's when it clicked to him that this is the same alley man-god showed him, and he suddenly hears a girl's crying, so he dissolves the wall, and to his surprise, he spots Aisha with two palace guards. Aisha is crying because they have takes a letter from her. The guard spots Ruck D first and explains that it's not what it looks like. They tell Rudy that this little girl got lost and they were just escorting her home, seeing crying Aisha. Rudy asks, why are you not giving her the letter? They couldn't explain anything, and just then Aisha runs behind Rudy and asks for help. He smiles looking at her, and immediately uses his magic to fend them off, and takes Aisha with him. However, the guards chases after them, and warns Rudy to hand Aisha to them. Rudy again uses his magic to make a way for him and Aisha, and takes her away to safety. She then thanks Rudy for helping her out, and asks about his name. Rudy however remembers man-god's warning, not to reveal his true name, so he doesn't, and introduces himself as Moonlight. But soon Aisha makes a request to Rudy, and tell him that her mother is imprisoned, so she want his help sending the letter to her father Paul. Rudy tell her that it takes money to send the letter. But Lilia has taught her daughter that if she gives out a cute smile, Anyun would help her. But Rudy asks, do you not have anyone else, like a older brother? And Aisha quickly says that she cannot count on her older brother, and the reason quickly becomes clear. Aisha reveals that her brother is a complete pervert, as Lilia once warned her to never open a box. But out of curiosity, she opened it, and found some panties in it, which completely ruined Rudy's reputation in her eyes. But she doesn't stop here. She continues, saying, me brother even used to take girls in the bathtub. Rudy laughs awkwardly, but now, he can figure it out why the man-god asked him to be secretive about his name. She then AKs his actually name, but Rudy doesn't say it. He tell that it's a secret, but most people know him as a cattle master of the Dead End group, and she excitedly want to hear the story. But Rudy tell her that, for right now he need to rescue her mother, so he will tell her the story some other day. Rudy takes Aisha with him, put her sleep, and ask Eri and Ruler to not mention his real name before Aisha. Eri struggles with this, as lying isn't her strength, but she still makes the efforts, which makes Rudy blush. Anyway, they gets ready to free Lilia from the prison, but Rudy stops them, as he wants his master to get there too. The next morning, as Rudy, Aisha and Eri are sleeping, there is someone who calls Rudy. He wakes up and get to the door. There is a guard of the kingdom standing, who invites Rudy to the palace to meet Roxy. Rudy gets excited hearing it, and immediately agrees. Rudy literally gets ready to meet Roxy properly, and Eri and Ruler promises to look after little Aisha. Rudy finally heads to the palace, feeling super excited about reuniting with his master after so long. The guard even says that Roxy has been talking a lot about him, She even said that she wasn't qualified enough to teach a boy of his caliber, which of course flatters him. But then, instead of taking Rudy from the main entrance, she takes him from backwards, which is a little suspicious. After walking for a while, he stands before gate where the guard takes his staff and bag from him. As he gets in, he come across the prince. Roxy used to train, but things quickly goes south, as instead of finding Roxy, he finds Lilia, tied up on the floor, and the boy instructs the guard to trap Rudy too. Rudy gets in a trap, and as he opens his eyes he finds himself standing over a magically enchanted circle. And that's when the prince reveals that this is a king-class magical circle he designed specially for Roxy that seals any magic, so Rudy cannot really use his magic now. The prince then introduces himself as the 7th prince of the Chiron kingdom, but beside this, Rudy still tell him that he need to speak to Roxy, so can you please call her. Pax then informs him that Roxy isn't here, and he will use Rudy as a trap to lure her back home. Pax then says that he found Rudy's letter, that's how he got to know about him. He even mistakes Rudy as Roxy's lover, but Rudy corrects him saying, I am just her student. It comes out that Pax is extremely obsessed with Roxy, that's why he need her back there. When using Lilia as leverage failed, he decided to capture Rudy knowing how much Roxy cares about him. But Rudy put some senses in him saying Roxy wouldn't know until he speaks about it, and now what began as a rescue mission turned into Rudy becoming a prisoner himself. And now he is sealed inside. Rudy starts wondering that he did everything what man God said, so where did he go wrong? Meanwhile, we get a brief flashback of the teleportation incident, when the mysterious beam of light struck everyone, including Paul's family. Lilia holding Aisha tightly ended up teleported in a lake close to Chiron Kingdom. They both somehow survives, and with nowhere else to turn, they walks towards the palace, in hope to seek help from Roxy. Unfortunately, Roxy was no longer serving there, and due to the prince, who wanted to use Lilia as a trap to call back Roxy, they put Lilia and Aisha in the cell. Back in the present, Rudy is still in the cell, wondering what to do next, but the cell is so protected with magic that none of Rudy's trick and turns work there, so he really pray that Ruler and Eri rescue him soon. Just then, the door opens and a man enters in the cell. The man is 3rd prince of the kingdom, Zen. He asks Rudy about the statue he made of Ruler earlier. As Rudy sees it, he lies because he thought talking about a supern will only make his condition worse, so he says that he encountered this man while he was traveling from demonic continent. So the prince emphasizes asking, do you know the artist who made it? Rudy, who himself has made it, denies, but then the prince then opens a bag, which has a statue of Roxy that Rudy made years ago. This shocks him, so the prince says that it is the statue of Roxy they got from a local seller. He also explains that Roxy used to work here, but his brother's constant harassment finally exceeded her tolerance, so she left. But this isn't his concern. Prince then describes how obsessed he is with the artist who made this statue and how he depicted the movement of Roxy perfectly. He perfectly outlined every details the artist had added and loves it. Rudy is flattered to see how someone has literally understood his hard work of making the statue. But then he picks something. Isn't the mole under her hand is missing? He confirms that, yes, there used to be a mole, but then he removed it. But when Rudy points out its importance, the prince realizes it and act like he is dead. Finally, Rudy admits that he can put it back, making it obvious to Prince that he is the artist. And after knowing that, the prince gets absolutely crazy about Rudy and want to kiss his artistic hands, but as he crawls towards him, his head gets bumped into the invisible magic wall. His behavior is so fanatic that even Rudy is stunned to see him and remembers the students from his past life who used to behave like him. Meanwhile, we get to know that Pax not only kidnaps people, but control his own guard too. And they only obeyed him because their families are kept hostages. Despite Pax's grip on the kingdom, Eri Ruler gets inside with the help of the guards, and as soon as Eri gets there, she asks the guards about the cattle prince, on which they reply that he is imprisoned at the moment. Eri straight away jumps to action but is stopped by the guards, who want something in return from the Dead End group. When Ruler asks, what do you want? They says that they want their help in rescuing their families. That's when they explains that, in order to get imperial control, Pax kidnaps the guards' families and keep them as hostage to take the control, so they request the Dead End party to lend them their aid. And Eri, being the bold girl she is, immediately accepts, but Ruler tell her that only he will go as they cannot put Aisha in danger. So Eri agrees in comfort Aisha. Meanwhile, Ruler gets up and moves ahead on the other hand, Zen who want to find a solution to free up Rudy, but cannot see anything around. Rudy asks if he has any subordinates who can free him, but he denies, but the crazy Zen have already decided to be Rudy's apprentice at any condition. So Rudy just put one condition that, if he takes him out of here, he will definitely accept him as his student. So Zen walks out and tell Rudy that, even if he has to turn against his own brother Pax, he is willing to do that. Suddenly there is a commotion in the palace, and Aisha explains that Zen is roaming in the palace, who is known as the Decapitator Prince for killing one of his own brothers, and suddenly, Zen drags his brother Pax from his head, and everyone including guards watches it. Aisha explains to Eri that that's the person she was talking about. Zen takes Pax in the cell, where Rudy is, and he is holding his brother like a shaking leaf. Everyone is stunned to see the power of Zen, and Pax asks for his mercy, but as the guards are about to help him, Eri tells them that they don't have to listen to Pax, as their families are being rescued by Ruler, the Supreme Warrior. So finally the guard take down her sword, and says that she is under Prince Zen, so until he says we cannot protect anyone, and Zen, who is a mad prince, torture Pax for imprisoning Rudy, which shocks everyone. Finally Pax agrees to every term and conditions of his brother Zen, and frees Rudy and begs to let him go. By now his hands are twisted and broken and Pax screams out of pain. Soon Ruler gets back with the families of the soldiers who were kept as hostages. They reunites with their families, including Aisha and Lilia. Soon Rudy meets Lilia too, and reunite with her. However, the crazy Prince Zen, who still want to be Rudy's student, get to him and throws him up in excitement to learn his art later, as Lilia and Aisha is about to leave from the place towards the safer place. And Lilia finally gives Rudy his treasure box, which he gladly accepts. He then sees a handmade pendant from Sylphie which she made herself on his 10th birthday. After that, Lilia finally hugs Rudy after a long time and wishes him happy birthday for every time she missed it, holding him even tighter. Lilia says that she is so glad to see Rudy safe. Rudy also appreciates Lilia for raising Aisha so well-mannered, and soon he reunites with Aisha too, who soon realizes the truth about her brother, acknowledging everything he has done. So she requests him to take her along on his journey, but Rudy denies, but then give her a band of his own. He tell her that she can keep it as a souvenir from him. Aisha smiles and admires her brother for who he is. Soon Lilia and Aisha leaves from there, and waving at Rudy, she says, "We will meet soon," and apologizes for calling him a pervert before. That's when Lilia and Rudy both realizes that Aisha is sharp enough to understand that the cattle master is none other than her brother. Meanwhile, Zen is also removed from the line of succession for being as crazy as he is, and he is given exile from the kingdom. Suddenly Rudy's life take a turn, as Ruler is lying down half dead. Eri is also unconscious. Even Rudy is bleeding heavily. Before him, there is a man standing. Now, let's go into a flashback to see what exactly happened to the group. So, as the dead-end Sue travels through the mountains, Eri and Ruler continues their sword training, which is extremely intense. Eri has made a huge improvement in her sword fighting, but not enough to beat Ruler yet. But as they calm down, Ruler tell Eri that from now on she can call herself a warrior, which amazes her, because she hasn't defeated Ruler till date. But Ruler insists that she already possesses enough strength and power, same as some of the greatest warriors. Eri smiles hearing this, and asks Rudy if she is dreaming. She asks Rudy to pinch her on cheeks, but Rudy, being the pervert he is, does exact opposite and receives a strong punch from Eri. But Ruler tell her that she shouldn't let it go to her head, because now, he will not treat her as a child anymore, and Eri agrees to that. The next morning, Eri spots a group of red dragons and instantly gets excited about fighting them. But Ruler quickly gives her a reality checks. Red dragons moves in packs, and are extremely powerful. He further adds that even the warriors ranked among the 7 great powers would struggle against the entire flock. As they walk ahead, Rudy, who's behind Ruler and Eri, is talking about various gods. But just then, Ruler and Eri stops and freezes right there out of fear. Rudy then asks them, "What's wrong?" He then try to see ahead. He spots someone is coming from front. Unfortunately, they run into someone. It's Orsted, the dragon god, one of the 7 greatest powers, and the strongest being in the world. He is traveling with a strange girl named Nana. Eri and Ruler is unable to even move. They walk past the dead-end group, but then stops in a while. Ruler tells everyone to stay where they are, but then the animal who was accompanying them runs away and jumps down fearing Orsted. Just then Orsted talks and asks, "Are you Ruler, the Supreme Warrior?" He even knows Eri Grey Rat, but Rudy is a complete mystery to him. But anyway, he drops it there and intend to leave. But then, Rudy stops him, as he is the only one capable of talking to him normally, which shocks Ruler and Eri. But Rudy then introduces himself and asks Orsted, how do he know his friends? Orsted says, he doesn't know them well, but ask Rudy his parents' name. So he answers, Paul and Zenith. Surprisingly, he already knows Paul and Zenith and asks, they only have daughters at first. The conversation is pretty calm, but then Orsted starts walking towards him. But Ruler stops him right there. But then Rudy asks him if he knows something about mana disaster. The expression on Orsted's face changes hearing this, and he denies. But then Orsted asks a dangerous question. Has Rudy ever met the man god? Rudy instantly answers, yes. He mentions his encounter with him, but suddenly, the mood shifts. Orsted immediately attacks him, which is countered by Ruler. Orsted decides that Rudy must die. Ruler tells Rudy to run away from there, while he fights him. But Ruler is no match to Orsted. The fight between Ruler and Orsted doesn't even stay for a minute, but soon Orsted punches him and defeats him with ease. Orsted then stands before Rudy, who is stunned that Ruler is defeated. Then Eri gets ahead to protect him, but Eris is struck down next. Rudy doesn't even try to run, and within seconds he is attacked, impaled straight through the chest. Orsted tell him to give a message to man god that the dragon god is going to end this for all. Meanwhile, Eri, who's struggling to get up, tries again, but this time with magic. She enchants the fireball magic, but is unable to use it against the dragon god, and Ruda's staff blow a massive fireball towards Orsted, which gives him an injury. But Orsted then uses his own magic to disturb Ruda's magic, leaving him helpless. But Rudy is a man of will. He still enchant the fire magic to use against him. But Dragon God, who himself is expert in magic, open the wind gate to dissolve Ruda's magic entirely. Even he is amazed with Ruda's incredible amount of mana he is using in his magic. But then, Orsted uses the final strike on Rudy. He holds him by neck and kills him right there. Rudy is dead, and Eri gets absolutely traumatized seeing him lying dead. She crawls towards him, crying, absolutely devastated. All of her team members are lying dead. Meanwhile, Orsted walks away from there. After dying, Rudy meets Man God again. Even Man God says that this outcome wasn't something he foresaw. Rudy, who has a hole in his chest, asks Man God that Orsted attacked him. The moment he found out, I know you, why did he do that? Man God replies that he is the dragon god who holds plenty of envy against him. He then explains that Orsted is a cursed being burdened with 4 curses. These curses are the reason everyone around him feel overwhelming fear, explaining why Eri and Ruler couldn't move. He also shares that he cannot see anything about Orsted because of his curse, and the curses also limits Orsted's true powers. But then Rudy asks about Ruler, is he cursed too? The god-man tell him that his spear was cursed due to war with Laplace's, but after Ruler's involvement with Rudy, his curse is reduced. But Rudy tell Man God that he was shocked to see Ruler taken out so easily. So Man God says that he was no match for Orsted, as even after the curses, his powers are unmatched. Rudy asks, how do the Man God knows so much about Orsted? But Man God doesn't want to share a lot, so Rudy doesn't bother him, knowing he is dead now and will not meet Man God again. But anyway, besides this, Rudy feels he was lucky because not many people gets a second shot for life. And as he says goodbye to God-man, thinking he will have to move ahead from here, the God-man stops him and dodges a bomb on him. He is not dead yet, and instantly, he comes back to life in Eris' arm. Rudy vomits blood out and asks why is he alive still. So she explains that Nana said something to Orsted after the fight. Ares didn't hear what it was, but whatever Nana said convinced Orsted. And he casted a healing magic on Rudy and Ruler, bringing them back to life. Rudy then hugs Eri, relieved that he is alive. Eri, like always, tell him that she will punch him. But then, suddenly she burst into tears, as she was so worried about him, and is so relieved that Rudy is back into life again. The next we see, Rudy getting flashback memories of every person he is connected to, from his father to Phillips, Glean to Ruler, Roxy, Sylvie, and Eri together. And then he sees everything turning into a bloodbath. His old self, whose is stuck behind, with a big hole in the chest given by Astar. And suddenly, Rudy wakes up. It was a bad dream. And Ruler asks him if he is alright, and asks, who is Man God? Finally, Rudy tells everything to Ruler, although he finds it hard to believe. As Man Gods and Dragon Gods fight seems a little tough to believe. Rudy also tell Ruler that Super's reputation is because of a curse, as Laplace gave them the cursed spear that they use, which shocks him. But he also drops the good news that the curse is fading away, and removing his hairs is also reducing the curse. And what remain now is just a deep-rooted prejudice, but with consistency that will fade away too. Which means their journey actually mattered. Ruler literally looks the other side, and starts crying, as it has been quite a long journey for him. Rudy gives him privacy and sleeps back. Soon after, the group reaches what's left of Rudy's hometown. Seeing the place again hits Rudy hard with all the memories attached with Paul, Lilia, Roxy and his mom Zenith. All the memories of his childhood comes before him, and as he look around, the tree he and Sylphie used to sit under, where he and Sylphie has spent such a good time, he gets absolutely quite. That's when Ruler makes a big decision. He tells Rudy and Eris that they are strong enough now, so this is where he will be leaving both of them. He thanks Rudy, although Rudy says that he didn't do anything anywhere, but Ruler tell him that he made him understand how many options he has to live a life. He kneels and thanks Rudy for every second they spend out there in the Adventurer Guild, where people smiled at the name of Dead End without any fear. He tells Rudy that he wouldn't have grown without him. The closeness and acceptance everyone gave him, regardless his tribe, is all because of Rudy. Then he turned to Eri and tell her that she has incredible potential to become stronger and stronger than he himself could ever imagine. Eri gets emotional hearing the last word from her training partner. Before leaving, Ruler pats the kid's head lovingly, making Eri cry like a little baby, and then Ruler returns the pendant Rudy gave him earlier, but Rudy asked him to keep it as a prized possession from his side. After that, Ruler turns around one last time and says, "We will meet again, Rudy," and quietly walks away. It was a quite goodbye, but it hurted all three of them equally. They remembered every single second they spent together, making Rudy break down too. Now, on their own, Rudy and Eri travel back to Roa, which is also completely destroyed. As they both moves ahead, Eri spots Gillian, alive in a tent, and she gets down from the horse excitedly and run towards her. She hugs Gillian out of happiness, and Gillian says she is so glad to see her and Master Rudy safe. Her family servant Alpha asks Rudy to stay out for a while, as he need to talk to Eri, but she straight away tell them that Rudy will stay with me. Their reunion doesn't last long before the bad news drops. Eri's parents and her grandfather Saurus is dead. Alpha informs her that her parents were killed during the teleportation disaster, while her grandfather was blamed for the disaster and was executed. Rudy gets super mad, as how can someone blame a man for a natural disaster? But Eri asks him to sit back down, as if it wasn't enough. Alpha adds one more insult. Another branch of the Grey Rat family wants Eri to become a concubine for Pylon Noto's Grey Rat. This upset Gillian, and she loses it completely, as how can he even say that? But he says that it is for the lineage of Grey Rat's household. Gillian asks, "Will you sacrifice Eri for that?" Alpha coldly says, "Yes, if needed." Gillian then turns to Eri and tell her not to accept this ever. Eris snaps at everyone and tell them to leave her alone so that she can think. She even tell Rudy to leave, and he does so, while Eris spiral into despair. Rudy checks the missing persons board and he confirms his worst fear. His mother Zenith is still missing, but he then sees Sylphie's name. He gets a little relived that Sylphie wasn't fun dead, but no one knows where she is either. That night, when Rudy is lying down on his bed, Eri comes inside his room, and Rudy asks if she is fine. She says that she is better, so he asks what is it that she plans to do now? She tell him that she doesn't care, and adds that she has turned 15 now, and Rudy, who completely forget about her birthday, apologizes to her and says that he will get a present, and ask, "What do you want?" She tell him that "I want to have a family with you." Rudy hesitates a little, not wanting to take advantage of her emotional state, but Eri leaves him no option, as she makes a choice herself. But eventually, the two spend the night together, remembering every moment they have spent together by now. The next morning, Rudy wakes up feeling absolutely warm and cheerful, and then the reality punches him in the face. Eri is gone from there, leaving Rudy a message that she is leaving, and hopes to meet again someday. Rudy runs to Alha asking about her, but he informs that Eri left with Gillian. She left during the night, without a word, without an explanation, and without a goodbye. Rudy is left confused, heartbroken, and emotionally obliterated. He cries, thinking he has been cheated and Eri has abandoned him. Meanwhile, we see Eri, who's with Gillian somewhere. The two of them are heading towards a journey. On the other hand, Rudy completely shuts down. After Eri leaves, he sinks into a deep depression, haunted by the memories of his past life, especially the brutal bullying that broke him down and turned him into a shut-in. He stopped speaking to anyone. His parents, who tried helping him, but he was completely broken down. Being abandoned again hits his old scars, and for a while, he could barely move forward at all. Just then, Alpha gets in his tent and asks for his help in some of the kingdom's infrastructural and agricultural needs, but Rudy just doesn't listen to him. Alpha adds that he wishes to rest, or Fetoa's prosperity like before. Rudy gets up and asks him to leave him alone, but then he drops the truth. He informs him that Everyone is suffering, and they lack food and tents, so he cannot let Rudy rest there every time, after which, he leaves. Meanwhile, Ruler continues helping people on his journey back home by hunting the monsters, and they thanks him for helping them and wonder, who is he? He then tell them that he is Ruler from the party Dead End. On the other hand, we get to know that Eri has not abandoned Rudy. Out of cruelty, she leaves with Gilon because she believes that she is too weak for him. After seeing what Orsted managed to pull, she decides she need to become strong enough to protect Rudy, even if that means walking away now. Meanwhile, Ruler tell the people that he is a Superin, but instead of fearing him, they are curious about the gemstone on his forehead. So when he shows them, they gets excited and do not fear at all. Bit by bit his people's reputation is healing, and they says that they have heard about the scary stories of Superins who eat people. But Ruler corrects them saying, we don't eat children, which bursts them in laughter. Meanwhile, Eri confesses her love screaming, I love Rudy. On the other hand, Roxy on her journey runs into the ever-chaotic demon emperor Kashi, who racks up a massive bar tab, but is unable to pay it back. So then Roxy pays it, and says that she is broke now. Kashi tell her that she will pay her off, although Roxy doubt it, thinking she is Paleness. But then Kashi introduces herself as the great emperor of Demon World. She offered to give Roxy her demon eye, but Roxy asks her to rather find someone using her demon eye. Roxy says that she wanna locate Ruda's missing family. The news is a mix of relief and urgency. Aisha and Lilia has reunited safely with Paul, and Paul instantly hugs Aisha and Lilia, comforting them. So Kashi dictates this to Roxy using her demon eyes, but as she tries to see Zenith, she cannot find her. All she sees is a weird place, but when she focuses, Kashi can only see that Zenith is in the labyrinth city of Reborn. Then, Roxy asks about Rudy, and Kashi says that he is back in the Fetoa kingdom, and looks depressed, which somehow, makes her laugh. Later, Roxy tells all this information to her party, and without any hesitation, Roxy and her party prepares to head in Labyrinth City to rescue Zenith. Back with Rudy, the depression lingers, and he dooms into his past self, where he was absolutely lost, lonely, and blocked people from helping him, until they stopped reaching out to him. He keeps getting depressed, and the only solution he found was sleeping, until he dreams of his mother. He sees how beautiful their life was, and how his mom is happy to see a sweet quarrel between father and son, and then how sweet their own conversation was, and how Rudy used to boss around his father, and as he was a big brother now, he used to take responsibility of house cleaning, making his proud of him, and she says, I love you, Rudy. That moment snaps something back into place. No matter how weak Rudy feels, he still has a responsibility. He still has someone he need to save. With that realization, Rudy forces himself to step out of the tent, leaving his past depressed self behind, and he stand up to continue his journey. Elsewhere, we finally see Sylphie, alive and has white hairs now. She tries to convince the mysterious group to recruit Rudy into their rank, and says that Rudy is the only man she respects the most in this world. That's all for today. If you want the next part, comment next part. We'll make it once this video hits 10,000 likes. Also, tell us which character you like the most in the comments, and thanks for watching. You guys are the best.